So that is the intro to the old Batman television show with Adam West.
Same bat time, same bat.
Yeah, it was an announcer would be on. I actually think it happened at the end of each episode. Like, is Batman and Robin going to survive this? Or is the Penguin going to live? Will the Joker live? Tune in next week at the same bat time, same bat place.
You mean it's supposed to be like not spillable, but then
Brent's like, I can spill
it's
the
not
shit out
Brett
of this.
proof.
Well, I mean, you got to push hard enough, yes, but the idea is...
Hello and welcome to Strange Conversations. Each and every week we gather together to talk to you about our personal topics as well as the news for the week. And there's a lot of news this week. Dylan is over there to my far left.
That is correct.
On my other left.
Mark Plover.
And on my right.
John. Handsome John.
Handsome John. You can find him on Twitter. We come together to talk about what is important. I don't know where I'm going with this. I am off.
His name is Brent Metcalf.
Thank you. Thank you. That's right.
One day he's gonna
One
do it.
week,
not introduced
one
himself.
week gone, and I've lost it all.
Yep,
it's
100%.
all out the window.
I don't
All
think you
right.
had it.
Wow,
Oh,
that
no.
hurts. That hurts a lot. Well, my name's Dylan, and so every single week there's a lot of news out there, but this is the important.
I saw that coming. You fucked up.
It's the timings is getting worse and worse every single week. So the first bit of news that we wanted to discuss today is that Ubisoft getting the DDoSing.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was a part of that mix-up. They got DDoS attacked last week, or the second week in July.
You did the attack?
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Impressive.
No,
Please
It
explain.
I was a part of it, as in, like, it was messing up my Far Cry 5 game. It was really annoying. Also, it affected not just Far Cry 5, it affected that. It even affected Rayman Legends I was trying to play. Anything Ubisoft was just trash.
Anything on their
Simpson,
servers?
the Ubisoft fangirl over here.
Yeah, I actually do play a lot of Ubisoft. I'm not going to lie. If you look at my trophy list, a lot of platinums belong to Ubi, so thank you guys for being there for me. You know exactly what I like.
That's weird.
But unfortunately, yeah, they recovered. They're good to go now, but as well, it's still annoying. I wish they had attacked banks instead of...
I don't wish they would ever attack banks. That sounds
At least
way
I would
worse.
be happy. I'll put it that way.
But you could be on the receiving end of that.
that
still have my
impacts
game
my
time.
job directly.
Leave me alone. I don't have that much money. Take it. Just leave me alone.
Didn't they say something about compensating individuals for
Yeah,
the
they
time?
did. That's a good point. Thank you for
Free
reminding me.
loot chest.
For Honor specifically was mentioned in getting like 1,000 steel, some bonus XP, just to say, hey, sorry this happened. Not like it's our fault, but
Sorry
whatever.
for the 73 players that were online.
They're
that time.
trying so hard to keep it alive.
But I have to say they're doing a good job with it.
Those 73 players were happy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Far Cry 5 didn't get any love. I mean, it was only For Honor as far as I could tell.
Okay.
And Far Cry 5, I'm gonna put out there, their multiplayer is not that great, but they just released the Mars DLC, so I'm sure people are happy with it now.
I'd be curious to see if their Rainbow Six or other competitive games specifically got love in that respect.
I'm sure
compared
they
to,
did something for
Far,
Rainbow Six. They just didn't mention it.
Far Cry 5 is like a story game, so you're missing out the opportunity to play together.
There is at least 6 people that are playing multiplayer right now.
Oh, I'm sure. But you're not
Total
missing
6.
out on the opportunity cost is a lot less because you still could technically play that game by yourself without the internet. Whereas For Honor, you literally couldn't play.
Why have to do it though? I mean, DDoS attacks they've happened a lot, and I don't understand why it's like, oh well, this is Ubisoft's fault.
Oh, it's not. No,
No,
it's
they're not
not.
saying
It's not the
it's
slightest.
Why would anybody feel that way? It's like, all right, well, this weekend's gonna suck. Fine, we're just not gonna play, or we're gonna follow up next week when they fix it.
It's almost like this is the reality of video gaming in 2018.
Yep.
Yeah.
Another random tidbit of news as well is Germany now seems to be banning pre-orders from air quote vague dates, which is interesting because I feel like most video games start their pre-orders with December 31st.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I don't necessarily agree with this, but I understand where they're coming from. It initially was away from when the Galaxy S6 was released in 2016. I think it was.
One of the
There was a part of that ruling, but I just hope that doesn't permeate throughout the US.
I hope it goes
because
straight to early
things change
access.
so much that it's like, hey, we have this plan, and then something goes wrong. It's not really a big deal. We're used to it. All this stuff still happens, but they don't want. They're saying you should have a definitive date. If you're putting money down, you should be able to get your know when your product is
See,
coming.
I think that's different though because what he's talking about is literally like, hey, it's coming out in 2018, so they just slap on the December 31st date.
Yeah.
They don't have an actual date. That is a vague date. Whereas someone who is like, hey, we're going to release in November, and then it gets delayed to December or January. They're like, oh, well, things happened.
I was gonna say, but if you put it to December 31st and it gets delayed till March of the
You
following
don't put
year, I mean,
December
technically-
31st is a catch date. So to put it in GameStop, you have to have a date.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they put December 31st of whatever year they think it's
You
coming
can't
out.
say coming soon.
Yeah,
or
you can't
any
do
of
that.
No, I get that, but like, there's still the availability for you to still put a definitive date and then suddenly say, "Oh, well, we couldn't make that target, so
Well,
we're
that's
going to
the
go to
thing.
the next one."
Loopholes to everything.
Either put
Well,
put a date and be wrong, or don't put a date is
Yeah.
what they want.
Yeah.
I don't understand the point of that.
I think they want people to be like, "Hey, when's your game coming out?" Not delay it 7 times.
Well, and I don't think
or
they're
screw people out of money.
I don't
Yeah,
think
pretty
they're
much is where it's
looking
coming
at GameStop or retailers to say what's the video game date. They're looking at publishers and saying
Yeah.
you need to give a date. They can give the date of whatever and just throw it in a store anyways, but that means they have to give an actual date.
Well, it stops from people saying, "Oh yeah, give us your money now," and then like 2 years later, it's like, "Oh, it's still coming. Don't worry." And it's like, no, that's not okay.
Yeah,
When
nobody's
you're
got
paying
it.
for something, you should be able to get a product or at least know when that product is coming.
Yeah.
I find that's okay, but at the same time, we know that there's.
I think what they should just do is to prohibit the ability to acquire games without a confirmed full release date. I think that would decimate early access and beta games, but I
Yeah.
think that would be fantastic. Because I am totally for supporting early access games. I don't want to talk about my Star Citizen account, but I understand the game is not completed, and I am not the one who is taking people to the crucifixion chamber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The media is, and it's like, cool, if you're going to crucify them, just don't do it.
I didn't realize
Solve it.
there's a chamber for crucifixions. I'm learning something new every day.
Exactly. You got to take them to a special area. Can't have it in public.
Yeah.
You haven't seen the basement yet, have you?
Ah, good
No,
point.
Yeah. So the next bit of news that we had
weird.
on a hopefully more optimistic topic is PlayStation has announced their firmware 6.0. Also, something you didn't note in your news, which I don't think I brought up last week either, is they're low-key changing SKUs on all the PS Slims. I don't know if you saw that
I did
to combat like hacking or malware or something like that. They're changing the SKUs and upgrading them minutely for all
Oh,
the Slims.
interesting.
And that comes out, I think, like September. And they basically said nothing about it. Just I think all retailers were like, why did those go from SKU 1,000 to 2,000? And they're like, new version.
Well, I'm sure they didn't
Why
want
would
to
that have to do
publicly
with
announce
hacking?
that.
What?
What would it have to do with hacking?
Apparently, it's like a more secure or whatever.
Well,
I mean, if they do a change in the infrastructure, then, for example, if somebody else buys a PS4 Slim, then you can only, or you said PS4.
It's
Slim.
the Slim.
Yeah.
It's the regular one now.
Gotcha. Okay.
Non-pro.
No, but if they change the SKU on it or change even the architecture a little bit on the interior, then it changes the ability to hack it in different ways.
Yeah, like the Switch still, like if you bought a Switch at launch, it had a hardware defect that allows people to hack it. And they got rid of that with new SKUs.
They just said, they at least were like, hey, we fixed this thing. Sony's just like,
Nothing's happening. Everybody close your eyes. It's fine. Which,
Don't want to let them know about
granted,
it.
I'm sure they don't want all the hackers to be like, hey, we're telling everyone we're changing it.
Or,
Yeah.
it's almost like they were like, oh, PSVR is so great. Here's 1.2.
Yeah.
hopefully it comes wirelessly or at least one wire with like one USB-C connection. I don't know.
Yeah, that's apparently the future of VR, yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm looking
yeah,
at that.
that's-
It looks really interesting.
This,
Anyway.
the length of that was
Well,
very
well,
impressive.
We'll get there.
Oh,
I think it'll be quicker to plug in than it was for you to say that.
anyway, there's a 6.0 beta coming out that you can get for your sign up for your PS4. You got to sign up by July 27th
And
in
they-
order to get access. But I've tried to get on and try to access it, and I'm having issues, so I don't know exactly how
It's
that's
almost like
gonna
their
roll.
website is garbage.
Yeah, it's not far from.
Hey, but that new PlayStation website though is real hot. The PlayStation user one.
The app? Or
Yeah, the app.
Yeah.
which is also their website.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's super
totally
intuitive now.
nice.
Yeah.
They didn't detail what is
Nothing
in the
has
update.
been
That's what I thought.
detailed in the
They
content.
do this every time.
Don't know why.
They
Changing
do
friends,
this
changing
There, if
names.
you want to go try to sign
change.
up and get through,
Hashtag
there you
name
go.
change.
I just want them. I want them to walk in and just go name change and drop the mic. There's an amazing video, and I think I shared it with you guys at some point in time. Which is this is before E3. It was at the CES where Sony announced the actual PlayStation, and Sega had just come up. They talked about the Saturn. They like detailed everything about it. They're talking about the price for it, which is like $400, and when it comes out. And next, literally, they go down, and this is just a presentation. So people are like clapping. Like next up is so and so with PlayStation, and so he comes up and goes $299, and then just walks off stage. And that was his announcement for the PlayStation. It's the most beautiful thing I've seen from that company
God.
since.
I wish they'd do
This
that
is how you
now.
train
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the best.
I wish they would have done that nowadays.
Yeah.
Especially Xbox 2 PlayStation. That would be great.
I mean, there's just next gen. I hope it just still slugfest.
It will be free. Just come pick it up.
I don't think that'll happen.
No.
So the next bit of news that we had is, unfortunately, Pokemon Go Fest did not have a terrible event.
It did not, and not only did it not go down in flames like everyone expected it to.
Like last year.
Like last year. It was a very interesting event. They picked a larger park in Chicago. They actually had strewn across the park various like decorations and stuff, so it looked like you're going through different
Almost
parts.
like a weird
of,
birthday party.
Yeah, it was. They weren't like super professional, but it was really cool because there was like a desert area, an ice area, fire area. They released specific Pokemon in there and then gave everyone who attended the event a specific quest that allowed them to get Celebi. One of the Pokemon is called Unknown, and it's like in the shape of the alphabet. So as you went through area to area, you'd catch C, then E, then L, like spelling out Celebi. It was really cool.
I bet you were really sad you weren't there.
I was super depressed.
So are you going to go next year?
Oh, 100%. Brianna and I have already figured it out.
I might go with them just to
It'll
play
be a
people
lot
watching.
of fun.
Don't even
It's
do it.
going to be so much.
I'm not going to have my phone now. I'm going to be the only one paying
Tickets are super
attention when I'm
cheap.
watching.
That's what he
Really?
said. That's
They're
what
like
it says
20
now.
or
Until
it was
Bree
20
has
or
to have your
40.
phone.
I think it was only
just
20
get
bucks.
It was in
phone
New
still
York
playing
last
one.
year.
Yeah,
It's in
exactly.
Chicago this
It
year.
was in Chicago last year. They were
was,
just
but-
picked a smaller park.
Okay.
This year they picked a much larger park. They had they definitely had like basically contacted all of these cell phone providers in the area of like, hey, you're gonna have heavy traffic flow. Make sure you have people there preparing for this kind of thing. Their network, like the Niantic Pokemon Go network, actually stood up fairly well, which was nice.
Yeah.
I think there might have been 20 minutes worth of like, hey, can't log in. Not crashing, just if you weren't logged in, you're not going to get in for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But overall, it was really it did really well. And then after the fact, because they now have trading, they've just been basically doing a slew of different things where we have trading with friends. Today they introduced an update that if you trade older Pokemon that you own, they can become lucky, which means the person who gets it can upgrade them faster in half the time.
I was
Like,
hoping they'd squirt out babies.
you never know. So
They got
they're-
lucky.
they're-
Get it?
They're
Nah.
doing all of these weird things,
No?
but it's
Okay.
also really cool for the community. They're just continuously hitting
Yep.
them with stuff. So
It makes the eggs hatch twice as fast.
100%.
it's
Nice.
wonderful, is what I'm
Special
trying to say.
sperm.
It is.
I'm very happy about it.
I'm very glad that it was a successful event and that the Hogwarts version hasn't come out to replace it yet. But soon.
We'll see.
I hope. I can dream.
I mean, there's also
I
the
hope it does too,
Ghostbusters
'cause that
version.
sounds like it'd be
and-
fun watching people going around with wands and doing shit.
Yeah, I can imagine.
You
What
gotta
I-
get a strap for that.
What I do think would be exciting is if I think the Digimon should just come back for it.
Oh,
So
gosh.
they're working on a Digimon game for mobile. in Japan.
they're
The last Digimon game sucked though.
Oh, my
No,
God.
so they released. There's a couple of them. They
Brent likes
released
this
one
game.
on
You
Vita
went down
and
a
PS4,
dark rabbit hole.
and it's okay.
One
You're
of the
not
14 fans of Digimon is at this table.
wrong. You're not wrong. The one on Vita was fine. It was very much like Pokemon, but it was just.
We're super
You mean it was very much like the
Grindy.
Vita?
I love the Vita. It's so good. They released a sequel to it on PS4 and Vita, and it's very similar. They had an action adventure one that released in Japan on Vita and PS4, and only PS4 here, so I refuse to play it. Come out on Vita, and they're working on a 2D strategy RPG one right now, which looks gorgeous, all anime art style. None of the 3D models or anything. It looks like it's an episode of the anime. So
Speaking of the Vita,
That's
isn't there
awesome.
a game coming out that was made by the same creators of Danganronpa?
there is Zenki
What?
Zero, baby.
Zenki Zero? Yeah, that's right.
Zenki
Another
Zero.
Vita game?
It's the last game coming out for it, right?
Nope.
Nope. One of many to come.
So the next bit of news that we had is Game Maker's Toolkit is now working on a new update that allows for disabilities. Or is
So
it a
what-
whole new engine?
So Game Maker Toolkit is a YouTube channel done by a gentleman named Mark Brown who does analysis in games. I'm a very big fan of his stuff. You should totally go and watch it if you have any interest in breaking down game genres. He is partnered with, I believe it is, I can't remember the name of the foundation. I'll come back to it. But he's partnered to basically focus his next video series on disabilities in gaming and how to address certain things. So the first episode's out already. It is about how games handle both audio and subtitles and how it's kind of broken because there's so many games that do subtitles wrong. They do weird fonts. They do super small font, weird color schemes, whereas Netflix specifically has like standards in which they're like a caption can have no more than 20 characters on one line, and then it has to go to a new line. It has to always tell who's talking, and it like they have very specific things that have to happen. Granted, it's Netflix forcing other people to do it, and they kind of pay for that anyway.
Standardization throughout like the film industry in general.
Yeah, but Netflix standard doesn't carry over to Universal making their stuff. So it's kind of weird in the sense of trying to formulate that. But I would love for PlayStation or Microsoft, Nintendo, any one of them go, hey, we've got this auto system in here similar to how YouTube has captions. Like, we're going to caption it for you, and you can set it up this way.
I do think that's going to be challenging. I did see, and this is one of the ones that I thought was really impressive, because my roommate Kepley is colorblind, and I think it is Fortnite, I'm pretty certain. They basically have a colorblind test that you take, and then it's like, hey, you're this specific type of colorblind, we're going to change the palette accordingly.
Wow.
And it's not like, oh, this colorblind mode, good luck.
Yeah.
Because, like, I mean, you could be, like, different colors of colorblind, so maybe colorblind mode makes it worse for you or whatever.
Wow.
So I definitely think that's cool. I would like to see more games implement that, but very
Something
fascinating.
like that too, didn't they? Like they were forward thinking.
There's like a contrast mode and stuff like that. Yeah,
it's kind of cool.
I'm just a big fan of his channel and his expertise, and then really bringing these things to light. I think is interesting. So I wanted to bring it to light too.
Cool. Yeah, that's like your favorite YouTuber, right?
Yeah, one of them for sure.
Yeah, that video was really cool.
Yeah, he's got some cool stuff.
Yep. The next bit of news that we had is the CW, known for murdering Arrow in the Flash, in my personal opinion, is bringing a new show from Comic-Con. Was the announcement for Batwoman?
Oh man, there's so many announcements at Comic-Con, but this is the one that stuck out to me because it's kind of big news for the Arrowverse, is which they're bringing Batwoman. This is going to be the newest iteration. It is a lesbian named something Kane. Yeah, I can't remember her first name.
Yeah,
I'm not big into Batwoman comics.
It's like Harley Quinn or something.
But it's still interesting to see them introduce her and get her into the universe, especially because the last iteration of her comic had her working side by side with Batman, not as a sidekick, but as a partner to help train other sidekicks. So her prominence in the DC comic book universe has kind of risen over time. Kate Kane. So as time has gone on, I love alliteration. It makes me so happy.
Oh my God. I said terrible initials.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
What's her middle name?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It's really close.
But it's still interesting because the Arrowverse in general has had a terrible Batman problem where they're like, we can't get Batman, so Arrow, you're Batman now. I totally dig it. I'm a big fan. You're obviously not. It leads to all kinds of interesting issues where you're in the DC universe in Star City and you haven't mentioned Gotham or Bruce Wayne once up until season 6 of the show. So hopefully bringing her into it is going to help mitigate some of that, slowly working in, especially considering the DC EU, which has a name now. I don't know if you guys know this. Worlds of DC is not doing well. It's awesome, and I'll tell you why in a second.
No.
It's not doing as well as they hoped, so I'm personally hoping that with the success of Gotham, which is a terrible television show, is going to allow them to be like, cool.
Isn't Gotham done?
No, there's still one more season.
I thought they were finishing after the next season.
Yeah.
I figured that was done by now.
No, they got one more season. Why? Who knows? Worlds of DC works really well because we don't know if that's just like one contained world or is this going to be multiple timelines, multiple parallel universes. Can we have Superman Red Sun as a movie? Live action? Yes, we can.
That's all fine.
In the worlds of DC.
My thing is, I feel like Arrow and all of these shows, you have the best out. You just take the comic book out. You just, before Arrow gets run to the ground and becomes a soap opera, you just have him meet the Green Lantern because nobody cares about the Green Lantern film. That film is dead to everyone. So you now bring you bring the Green Lantern back, and then you just have the Oliver Queen Parish to have the kid take over. It's done. Right off in the sunset. We killed Arrow. We got the new one. Restart. More exciting. No drama.
It does disappoint me how dramatic that show is.
It's my least favorite aspect behind the show.
Looked almost as soap opera.
Kill her. Yeah. Kill her, please.
Well, the worst one is like, did you watch the? Because this is probably going to quickly transpire into a trailer recap of Comic-Con, but the Walking Dead trailer. I'm not caught up with Walking Dead at all in the shows. Yeah. But I still read the comic books every time like the new compendium of 25 comes out or whatever. And it's like the show trailer legit was like, if you would tell me that comes on 3:30 on Tuesday on like ABC, I'd be like, all right, I believe it. It's like they're sort of like, oh yeah, society's fine. We're rebuilding. We got a church we're putting up this week. We're gonna have a cookout on Tuesday. And you're just like, what the is this? This is a show? Okay, there are zombies still. All right, that's good. And then it's like there's one shot where it's Daryl and Rick Grimes, and he's like, he's like, I'm on your side, and then Rick's like, tell me, and it's like, What? Why are you two fighting?
No, I never watched Fear the
Jesus.
Walking Dead, but that's supposed to be like a parallel storyline happening within the same universe.
Before.
Before? Okay. So I'm assuming even if that
That's
ends,
over
it
though,
won't
right?
even affect it at all.
No, I thought that's over. I thought it was like 2 seasons and it was done.
No, it's still going.
It's still going on.
Yeah, so they took the character Morgan from the show, and he is now in Fear the Walking Dead. So it's like the prequel before Morgan meets up with the main team.
I really
and the
like
main...
him as an actor. He was great in Jericho.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't even know what that is.
Man, that's sad.
A really good show that lasts only 2 seasons.
For no reason. It
Yeah,
was
that-
cut
what's the
short,
other
just
show?
like
Firefly that everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's one everyone loves. Yeah,
It's bad.
that's weird.
I
Any
don't know what Firefly is either, so it's okay.
I haven't watched any of these things. Aquaman. We got the new Bewitched. We got the Glass.
Are you talking about Charmed or
Charmed? What is it?
He likes Sailor
Bewitched?
Moon.
What are you talking about Bewitched?
No, what is the name of the? I just showed you the Simpsons trailer.
Unenchantment.
Unenchantment,
yeah,
whatever
something
it is.
like that.
So many new trailers. What's your favorite trailer so far? Comic-Con? Whatever.
Didn't watch it.
You savage.
I
I
still
was
Yours
playing
is
video games, catching
Obviously,
up because
Batwoman.
the servers were crashed down the week prior.
I think that my favorite one is honestly Godzilla. Godzilla King of Monsters is just totally killer.
Though I have
Totally
to say
killer.
that, the trailers you guys were shoving down my throat.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed
Shit.
all of
Which
them.
was before this?
Follow runners up would be Shazam and Arrow season 7.
Shazam did look surprisingly good.
Yeah,
Did you watch any
considering
trailers from
I
Negative
don't
Savage?
like. I don't.
Yeah, man, I don't care at all about Shazam, but I was
Yeah.
like, that's a cool trailer.
Yeah.
You got me there.
Yeah.
I saw Aquaman, I was like, that's a bad trailer. Really like Jason Momoa. I got hope. Not a lot.
I didn't.
Got a
to
little.
tell you the truth, I have no faith in the DC universe right now.
I'm not
really
surprised. I don't
that's
think most
really
people
my
do.
feeling. It's more of like, I like this actor. I have a lot of faith that this actor can act. I know that he is going to do his job that he is paid to do. It is the writers. It is everything. The audio quality, I'm certain, is going to be godly. That is
decision
one
between
thing
WB.
DC does fantastically. Like the Man of Steel movie,
Yeah.
garbage. Audio, fantastic. Probably one of the best sounding movies.
Yeah.
Actual movie, terrible.
We watched that in Spain.
That's
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah.
Great.
Just the
watching it in
sound of that,
subtitles,
like-
by the way.
Yeah.
That sound of like that drill hitting the ground is just like, I don't know, it's just evil and menacing. Movie, terrible.
I think you're just mad because they turned Superman into a Jesus Christ figure.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
And then he is basically the entire Justice League in one human. They all touch fingers.
Yeah.
And then Superman appears.
yeah. It's exactly
Pretty much.
what
That's the
Dragon
whole
Ball
Justice
Z
League.
fusion pose.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
I think there's something on their hands though when they touch fingers.
Is it gloves?
Probably.
Probably. I was down there. I was like, what? I didn't even want it to touch. I got it now. I got it.
Don't spew it everywhere.
So moving on to the next topic, Nintendo is entering in a good old lawsuit there, aren't they, Marcus?
He's trying
Really?
to get him to spew over there. It's fantastic. It's just gonna be
You
white.
just swallow
it's gonna
it.
be white cream everywhere.
It's his talent.
Thank God I swallowed first.
Please continue.
Anyway, yes. So Nintendo's actually starting 2 lawsuits. It started 2 lawsuits to sue 2 different ROM websites, LoveRoms.com and LoveRetro, 2 of the bigger sites anyway known out there, specifically for the NES ROMs that they have. It didn't seem like it was for anything else other than the NES ROMs.
You know what I smell? Virtual console.
Duh. You know what I smell? Playing 20 games and that's it. That's the worst part.
But this is the first time they've done something like this in a while anyway. I mean, they don't sell these games
Were they
anymore.
suing them for?
For being an emulator, basically. Or
For
ROMs.
was it IP infringement?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're distributing property that they technically
Yep.
did not
Anybody
purchase.
can do that with the Raspberry Pi, pretty much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's
the
the
issue
point.
is that
Well,
they're
yeah,
the
want
ones
them to use it.
facilitating
But that's the
it.
thing; they're distributing it. It's like the Pirate Bay anyway. Has been shut down however many 8 times or something like that.
They just gotta open back up in Cambodia, they'll be fine.
But to be fair, there's
Yes.
Losing out that they have the
If
opportunity
I
to
go
make
out
money
to the
off.
corner and make millions of copies of Game of Thrones season 6 and hand them out, I'm certain somebody at Game of Thrones will be like, "Hey, stop!"
no, but it's kind of odd that they're starting to do this just because they
I
haven't
know.
really cared up to this point.
Nintendo's
But
they're
the most
a-holes.
petty thing you can
They
think
are.
of.
I know.
So one, They care now because back in 2007 when the Wii launched, they didn't give a fuck about ROMs because they were selling to grandmas and grandpas.
Yeah.
Switch is selling to everybody right now, and the next big push for them is going to be, guess what? You can play the original Mario here.
Yeah.
Like that is the whole reason why. Fortnite's helping them sell consoles, and now that it's in everybody's hands, they're gonna go, cool. Here's all that nostalgia you want. We don't want you to get that anywhere else.
Well, you'd think they'd go up the train with it, though.
It's like, here's a bunch of that stuff you wanted, and then here's a really big top.
No, what's
You'd think they go all the way up the chain with it though, not just stop at the NES. At the NES, go up to the SNES and then work your way up through the GameCube and everything. Because there's emulators out for every single one of them, and there's ROMs out for all of them.
Oh,
so
they'll get there.
I mean, Love Retro's actually shut down completely, and Love ROMs, ironically, owned by the same person.
I have no doubt.
Two sites for the same purpose, owned by the same person.
Good play.
Love ROMs though has only taken down the NES stuff.
Smart
Their NES ROMs. Everything else is still there.
Get it while you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but they do full packs too. Like if you want to download
Now, if they
thousands of
mirrored
games
the
or whatever,
games,
hundreds of
would
games
that
for different
technically
consoles
still
and all
count?
that.
What do you mean? If they made them every time you press left, you actually go right?
No, like just
Oh.
flip it upside down, like towards like the level, like instead of scrolling to the right, you're scrolling to the
That's
left.
exactly
So
what I
you're
just
not
said.
allowed to modify.
No, you said upside down, right?
No, I said if you
When
go
you go
left,
right.
it goes left.
Yeah, but I thought you meant like the inverted controls. Sorry.
You are not allowed to modify those games. Like that's the point. If you're redistributing, you're not supposed to modify them.
Yeah.
You're also not supposed to redistribute them without giving Nintendo a certain amount of.
You just got to make it
money.
33% different.
Yeah.
Put it in colorblind mode, you'll be fine. I do think it's very interesting, but like what kills me about them making their virtual consoles is like I played the what is the NES one? That's not the one they just released, is it?
NES and then SNES Classic.
The SNES Classic. So I played that over the my last holiday with my family or whatever. It's got like, I don't know, whatever, it's 20, 30 games on it maybe.
20.
But it's just like, oh, cool. There's a lot of other games I really want to play for that though. Yeah. Oh, there's no cartridge. Oh, I'm going to go buy Retron 5 and just pop them in there like I used to.
Yep.
Neat concept. I think it's cool because it does like, it feels like those old school plug and play TV things where you got little composite cables and you got them at like Walmart for $20 for Pac-Man.
Yep.
It feels just like that except for Nintendo selling them for like $60.
I do wish that they would have made it like to where you could access a specific store
And download
with
them.
that console itself, and only you could access the store with that console.
It's almost like you can take this little, like, I don't know, $30, $40 Raspberry Pi thing, connect it to the internet, download all of them. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's real
Yeah,
weird.
it's
I'd
really
pay them
bizarre.
$1 a pop. Honestly.
I'm an honest man.
Yeah.
So I definitely think
I would be
that
too for $1 a pop.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's very justified. It's just kind of odd that they just haven't done it until now because, like, they really didn't give a crap. And then all of a sudden, it's like a couple decades
Technically,
later,
It's $4.
I think they've always given a crap. It's just a matter of whether or not they're ready to fight that battle. The one they've been fighting before this has been YouTube rights and whether or not you can have
Yeah.
to have their stuff. So
Super
I
petty.
honestly think they're just hitting these things one at a time. So
Oh,
they
yeah,
could just
Honestly, if you're watching this, then please don't copyright check us. I'm sorry for talking about you.
Yeah, no kidding, right? God.
It's the worst. I really just, it makes no sense to me. People,
I love the
I will
things that
never-
Nintendo does, but to be how petty they have been, especially with the online culture, has been.
that's why, like, I have no care. Like, I remember it was, I think,
Yeah.
2 years ago when they super started going hard on this, like, copyright infringing games played online. There was a professional qualifier for, what is the big fighting tournament that happens every single year?
Evo.
Evo, yeah. So there's a qualifier for Evo that's playing Smash on YouTube. They copyrighted it and took down the tournament. It's like, this is a professional tournament.
Yeah.
Like, these are people playing your games. Like, hundreds of thousands of people care about this, and you're like, nah, get it out.
Well, I could understand, going through like Mario and saying, like something story based that you don't want the story to get out there, but Smash.
Well,
really,
I don't even
Smash.
get that. The kid bought the game. He is doing nothing but advertising for you. There is
Yeah.
no negative.
Well, here's the thing: if it actually does affect them that much,
No,
don't
they
you
just
think
want money.
PlayStation and Xbox would feel that? Well,
No,
I mean,
they
their
just
whole
want
goal is like,
20%.
well, we don't want
Or
the people to
50%.
see that. We want to get money for it because if they decide not to play the game, we at least get compensated for it. That's the thought process that I'm going through with it.
No, I think they just want 50% of the earnings or whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, obviously petty for money, but at the same
Yeah.
time, for that reason, that's the only reason that I could even.
Your Nintendo, you
rationalize
made the
that.
Wii. I think it was a cash cow. Probably made like took $6 to make that thing.
I
Like,
think
how hard was it to develop Wii Sport?
I think someone calculated, like, in the era of the Wii U, Nintendo was losing a specific amount of money. I don't know what that money was, but if they continued to lose that amount of money evenly with inflation, for the next 100 years, they still would not go bankrupt.
Yeah,
Wow.
I have no doubt.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
They are
and now they need
ridiculously
50%
That's what I'm
from
saying. Like,
YouTubers.
why do you have to be so petty when you are literally just swimming in money? Right now, they are playing both sides between PlayStation and Xbox, winning right now, and they are just
They're catching up.
What was that, John?
killing it.
They're having a great time.
I do think
Having some fun.
I think it's just control. Nintendo as a company very much wants control of everything out there on involving their IP. It's the same reason why for years they were afraid of doing a movie, especially after the terrible live action film. Like they're very much, we need to control every aspect of this because nobody does it the way we
That
do.
Super Mario film
Yeah.
was gold.
Oh,
I just wanna
absolutely. I
know-
adore that
I
movie.
love that movie.
It's not a Super Mario film, but it's
I never
amazing.
even knew that existed, but I did see somebody tweeting about that recently.
Oh, buddy.
And the best part of it was somebody I follow on Twitter is the reason I saw this because they replied with some like Pornhub link. It's like, no, the real Mario Bros. And I was like, what the f- is that? But the next bit of news that we had is AMD, Nvidia, Oculus, Valve, and Microsoft, and then maybe HTC as well.
Nope.
No HTC. Are all trying to standardize to USB-C for the single,
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe
You-
double.
You
but-
mentioned that. And I was like, oh, yeah, we'll talk about that in a little
My
bit.
bad.
No, it's called Virtual Link, I think is what they
Yeah.
said it was. Virtual Link, and the idea is that they actually came together to meet. Now, this is all just documented standard, but the idea is like they've all come together to say, yep, we're going to use this as a standard over USB Type-C because it can carry like 27 watts of power and basically everything to power and give data. Actually, it can give enough for 2 screens and then 2 extra screens as excess if needed.
Yeah.
Like the bandwidth on USB 3 and the USB 3.1 standard is extremely high. So there's a lot of data throughput that can go both directions for, any kind of like metrics for movement data, as well as the powering and displaying the data for 2 screens.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
It would
Just
be
one single thin cable running down.
I don't know if you did see this as well. That was on a specific lower resolution though. They said to go above that resolution they have to go 2.
Right. But the idea is they have enough for
Oh
That's
no,
the fun.
2 USB-C
No, so that
cables.
actually so that is actually kind of a big issue because right now if you're running the latest gen of Intel boards, almost like the most expensive best MOBOs tend to only have one USB-C.
Yeah.
Which is why people are like, that's a great idea. Can you wait like 3 years though?
Well, but that's the thing.
Hashtag get
it's-
better.
It is still just
I couldn't even get one on
glue
it.
another
Get with
USB
the-
port on
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
It's that easy.
But it's still just a standard right now. They still say they're about like
Yeah.
3 to 5 years before the next model really comes out that's going to actually be able to support it and have stable tech on
Hopefully
Like,
by then they
exciting.
have it wireless. That'd be great.
No,
No latency.
the wireless one now is what 1700 I think is for the 5 Pro.
it. Wow.
All I know is that you
It
said
hurts.
they came together, and I just imagine Dr. Evil's little table, Bill Gates at the end. I know he doesn't run Microsoft anymore. I don't
You just
care.
imagine
He's
he's there.
still there.
He's
like-
in Elon
Meeting
Musk
because
is
he's like, that's
on
really
the
cool.
side
I'm going to
going,
sit in on this. Yeah,
I would
but
just like to imagine it's like the worst Skype call. It's lagging in and out. They actually misheard each other. Is the only reason they came to the agreement.
Did you ever see? You ever watched Silicon Valley?
No.
TV show. God,
Dude,
Imagine
it's
everything
so
you watch
awkward.
times it by
so
0.
good.
It's
Add
I can't
comic
watch it. That's how awkward.
I feel
gets.
awkward watching Richard do literally anything.
Yeah, dude, just the way the guy talks.
That's like
Kiss my.
I don't even want to.
That's exactly why I stopped watching it. I was like, I can't do that.
You've seen mine, I should see yours.
I worry
What?
about these people so much every day of my life. The next topic though is so Apple is trying to avoid an anti-spam app in India.
So, India has put out a new requirement, which is actually a good chunk of Apple's market as far as purchasing iPhones.
There's like
largest-
4 billion people in that one city.
Second largest population in the world.
Exactly. So, India is actually the
First, maybe.
TRIA, the Telecommunications Regulatory Authority of India.
That's a simple name.
Has put out a notice anyway that they have until I think it's October. They give a 6-month time frame as of February anyway for Apple or for every phone manufacturer and for every telecommunications provider to require every phone to be able to install the TRIA or TRAI's Do Not Disturb app to stop telemarketers and that kind of thing from being able to call them. And the idea is it's a simple app where you just kind of register your phone number and suddenly you're on a list where they can't call you.
I do wonder.
Kind of like the Do Not Disturb registry that's in the U.S. that doesn't really work.
No,
I
not
do-
at all. They just
I do wonder how that's going to work with BlackBerry because I was there. What doesn't feel like long ago, but I guess it was 3 years ago. Our entire work used Blackberries.
So if the devices that are on the wireless providers products or plans cannot support the app, they cannot support the devices.
Oh, that's dumb.
Wow.
So Apple has to comply with this in some form or fashion. Otherwise, iPhones will not literally iPhones will just stop working on the networks. Yeah.
$100 says iPhone caves in.
I would actually be willing to wager that iPhone should just tell them to pee off. I don't think they can stop it.
Nope.
I'm pretty certain if they don't do it, they're like,
not gonna
stop.
give up like 400
got us.
million sales of iPhones a year. I
Yeah.
don't think so.
The worst part is iPhones are 100% tax there, if I'm not mistaken, because of the import. Ow. So
Well,
that
they're gonna
$1,000
build them-
iPhone, we get $1,000 extra dollars a pop. Nah, let's let those things in.
I thought you said
I'm
they were gonna
interested to
build
know-
They put factories.
They're
in-
trying to build more factories
okay.
there, yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm interested to know what Samsung's share is now that they've just like we talked about 2 weeks ago anyway I talked about 2 weeks ago with the Samsung factory they just opened.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious what the market share is for Apple to Samsung now.
I mean, Android dominates the world anyway, so
Well, yeah.
minus the U.S. and
You know, Apple does
Great
pretty
Britain.
good for being so in their own niche.
yeah.
So
It's always good being second
Yeah.
best.
Yeah. So the next bit of news that we have is really important news, and it's from a galaxy far, far away or very close and dear to one of our hearts. No Man's Sky is releasing their massive update. Comes out tomorrow.
I thought you were about to talk about the
I
worst
thought
movie
you were
ever
talking
made.
about
but-
Star Wars.
Seriously, I was wondering where you're going with that.
Redirect. But No Man's Sky is releasing
Hard
their
left.
super massive update, and it's called No Man's Sky Next. And it comes out tomorrow. The 24th? It's
Yes,
tomorrow.
it's also the same day that it comes out on Xbox One.
Hey, finally getting the game. Xbox One actually is going to get a really good game at launch.
Yeah.
So that's a quality investment if you're on Xbox.
It actually will probably work out better for those people who started out compared to others who played No Man's Sky originally.
Yep.
Which it depends. Like my fiance, she loved the game when it first came out. It was very much I'm going to go in here, I'm just going to zone out, mine,
Yeah.
go from planet to planet.
Super grind.
Yeah, like
I enjoyed it just for like my roommate greatly disagrees with me, but I think to me that game was like 80% of a great game. It was very early days Minecraft-esque to me of like Minecraft just, hey, you're going to go out and do stuff. And like before there was like a dragon or any of that crap. Just like, I'm just going to go build stuff. And that game was like, I don't know, there was like a little bit of tranquility and just exploring the galaxy and hanging out. Like you had those quests and stuff and you're trying to upgrade your ship. And so like there was like a little bit of stuff, but it was like,
The language.
it
stuff
felt
is-
like an early, like the learning language and stuff. It felt like an early access game. I was like, we got half the story. Just try it out.
I think they would have been more successful if they had not launched it at the time period they did, which was mid-August, the first time it came around.
Yeah.
And I was like, why? Because I didn't play it because of that. This update makes me want to go out and buy a copy so I can play with her because we have two PS4s in the
Not
house.
the only. I was just gonna say, if you guys aren't gonna use that copy, I might borrow it just so I can play around with a little bit because I was telling him I might go do that, especially with the friend stuff going on.
Yeah.
Building. I don't do a lot of that, and it's something I've been wanting to like kind of like peer into.
I agree.
There you go.
But I do feel like I commented to you on Twitter.
Yeah.
I feel like they're making up for what they said they were gonna do.
Oh, 100%.
And
Yeah.
Honestly,
And exactly what
total respect for that.
what I
100%.
responded to your message on there as well was
Oh,
like
you did?
it's very impressive to me that it seemingly is a passion over income project because like
Oh,
they got a huge payday no matter what from releasing the game.
Yeah.
And they could have just been like, they hated it, we're out.
Yep.
But instead they're like, we're gonna do what we wanted to do.
He took it to heart, man. You can tell he was super remorseful at the fact that people that they felt slighted and cheated. I mean, he was even like, you could tell almost like a depressive state. He was out of everything, the news, the media,
Zoned
no, he was
zoned
gone,
out entirely.
trying
Yeah.
to figure out what he wanted to do and what the answer was going to be. And here's your answer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And
I
I'm-
am very excited.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what comes of it as well. The next bit of news that I had as well is for the low price of $400,000, you could become Iron Man.
I mean,
That's a house.
Yeah,
Listen,
but
it's
it's,
a house.
Worth it.
but it's Iron Man.
I'm listening.
The other issue is that you can only be Iron Man for I think 6 to 9 minutes.
4 if you're my weight.
That could be accurate.
What's the
Unfortunately,
power source?
What do you mean? It's 4 or 5 jet propulsion engines.
So are you
Yeah.
using fuel or using electricity?
You,
What's-
so you jet fuel,
6.
I think, gets you the 9 minutes. Diesel fuel gets you the 6 minutes.
Ooh.
It just burns blue apparently when you run diesel fuel.
And it smokes after you're done.
Yeah, smokes when
Is
you're
it
done.
6 minutes because you're probably going to run out and just
Oh no, you can go real fast. Apparently, I don't know what the speed was. I think it was like, I want to say
go
that
fast.
the device is capable of like well over 150, but I think you can only go like 80 in the device as it current states.
There is actually a similar
The video is
platform,
awesome.
but it's more like a almost like a Green Goblin
Yeah,
upper base
the
board.
standing one.
103 miles an hour that dude was going at.
what?
Yes.
That was one where he raced the Lambo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was nuts. I was like, dude, this is This is
But yeah,
something I wanna
the
do.
big thing about this is the dude.
be a little
I don't remember what
around.
his name is, but the guy who created the company is this like baller of a dude, and he's basically like, hey, this is like entry level tech. Like it sucks that it costs $400K, but people buy this, it's gonna push technology, and
Yeah.
this could be maybe $50,000-$60,000 soon.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you think
Wow.
you can get it like notched down towards you can actually get it into like a backpack size thing, that's mobile. Like you don't.
Yeah, this is basically
it,
you
you're
got
like-
like big plastic domes on your hand, and then 2 jet engines beside them.
Yeah, I mean, this is
and then
pretty,
one on your back.
pretty bulky right now at this point.
You give me
Well,
the Iron Man suit from Iron Man 2 where it's the briefcase. I'll buy it.
Yeah.
I'm in.
No, just all the way. If we're going fiction here, just go for the newest movie. Just the.
I mean, that's really cool too.
Oh.
I'm not gonna lie to
It
that.
is.
Yeah.
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 It's like super awesome. The last bit of news that I had is something that you're gonna need to click on if you're a nerd.
You done there.
Yes,
Please.
it's gonna be down in the description below, like all of the news topics as
up here.
always.
It's over here.
It's
Right?
not up
Don't
there.
listen,
It's not up there.
don't listen to him.
He's been out of the game too long. But Metal Gear Solid, somebody who has much more of a dedicated life than I, has manifested seemingly all the information from the entire Metal Gear Solid saga and compiled it into one massive spoiler, explanation, story, timeline, just everything.
And it's still confusing.
It is an excellent primer. It is void of some details
Yeah.
because it is so long.
Yes.
The person did an amazing job.
Yeah, 100%.
And this is great timing considering that Jordan Vogt, VOJ, it doesn't matter,
Bob,
is the director who did King Kong, has been in talks for Metal Gear Solid, a movie, and for the entire month of July, like pretty much, I think he said for the next 30 days after he started it, which was right as Comic-Con started, he is releasing concept art every day of what he wants to do for the Metal Gear Solid movie.
Yep.
So he has been pushing really hard on that. He's actually worked with Kojima on like what a script would be and what would be the best stance on it. Like, so I think there's Metal Gear Solid fever in the absence of the games. It definitely appears like there's ramblings underneath the surface that people
Well,
want
I also
this.
think that it is seemingly like one of the last, like you have like that in Final Fantasy. Like I think Final Fantasy is still going on, obviously, but to me that's like one of like the last like original titans of gaming.
Yeah.
And like Phantom Pain is just like to me like the greatest send off of like that game was amazing, and it's like if that's it, that's it. But God, that was a good
it
end.
was a movie in itself.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, there's a
literally,
little bit
it
of
had,
acid in
actually
there,
had
but-
more than a movie length.
Yeah, there's a good little bit of acid throughout the middle, but
Yeah.
I was about to say, it was
And
like,
the
what,
beginning.
2 straight hours.
Oh man, that's nothing compared to 4. 4
Yeah.
is like you would beat a chapter in 4 and you would put the controller down because for the next 45 minutes you were
didn't it
watching
have
a
like the
cutscene.
longest cutscene that
It
was
had
like
of all time.
yeah.
Yeah.
How long is that?
I'd have to look it up.
It was
I'd
There-
say it
ridiculous
was like
amount.
2 hours.
There, definitively, when you beat the game, you're sitting there for an hour and 15 minutes
Yeah.
as things wrap up.
Because I remember, like, I was reading somebody talking about that game. Like, yeah, my first playthrough that, I was, like, doing this in high school, and I was about to go, like, hang out with this girl at the time. And I was like, I'm just going to beat this last level, and I'll be out. And he's like, then it was midnight. She never called back.
Oh,
The funny
That's a
part
great story.
about all this is that was the first Metal Gear I ever played. That was the
Yeah.
first Metal Gear Solid I played, and it changed my life.
I remember hearing, my God.
Especially the ending with the 3-hour cutscene.
It was a 3-hour cutscene, yeah.
But there's a lot of stuff that happens every single week. But this is the news, and I got him. But this is the important shit.
Shit!
Important shit. The head fake there was so great.
It was really good. I was really proud of you. I was like, I'm going to get him. I'm going to get him. But we also have our own topics of discussion, and I think we're going to start with the more refined topics and then slowly move our way into gaming and a special.
Oh, I
a
thought I was the
special one.
refined topics.
No, you don't.
I was like, dang.
So, Mark, there's something going on with Google and the European Union. Why don't you just tell us about it and we'll talk. We'll
So-
discuss.
This has happened probably about I don't know, what was it, about 2 or 3 months ago anyway, that Google got imposed a $4.3 billion fine from the
Chump change.
EU.
$5
This is
billion US dollars for those people who want to do conversions.
So this is the second fine that they've got. The first one was last year at $2.7 billion for different reasons. This one is because of antitrust consumer laws. And the idea here is that because the Android phone now becomes pre-installed with Chrome and with Google Search, the EU is standing on the grounds that there is no choice involved with your search engine or your browser of choice.
Are you unable to go and download other browsers?
You are, however, because they give you a default one that is specifically theirs, embedded into the phone, they say that you will not be as enticed, or the general consumer will not be as enticed to download an alternative browser, an alternative search engine, which is it also requires the manufacturers to use Google apps if they're going to have the Google Play Store. Like,
what does antitrust mean? Because I don't think it means the same thing to me as it does them.
For those curious, real quick, why is Apple not getting
I was
sued?
about to ask.
Yeah.
this one that was my first thought process. So like first off, search engines, you can you have the choice between Google search, Bing, and a few others if you want to.
The search is default Siri, and if not, it goes whatever Safari's basic
the search
is.
engine you use though.
There is no search engine. So if you search on Safari, it just searches and it pulls
I'm
up its
not an
crap.
iPhone guy, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just there, like, it's not. You go to Google.
Maybe that's why.
But that's the thing.
They're probably like, on iPhone, if you try to search, you'll just go to Google. On Google, you just go to Google. Bro.
Siri goes, this is what I found on Google.
But they're actually also pushing towards Facebook as well. Because Facebook, between Instagram, Facebook, and a few others anyway, like Facebook comes pre-installed, for example, on Samsung phones. Saying,
I didn't know that.
Saying that, you may, it's kind of annoying. But they...
I bet Google Plus comes pre-installed too, though. I don't talk about that.
Cricket.
I think
no one does anymore.
Yeah, I'm confident Google Plus comes pre-installed on Pixels.
It does. But the idea is that because
Nobody
it's pre-installed...
uses it.
Because it's pre-installed, you won't be as likely to go to another search engine or another browser or another social networking site or another video site, because they actually say YouTube is included in that, because competitors like Dailymotion and a few others out there.
It bothered me so much that YouTube was not a pre-installed app. I don't get that.
Okay, so I guess my
download it. It's yours.
My question here is, do you think this is justified or not?
No.
So for one, is this because manufacturers are no longer allowed to put their own custom?
Right. That's part of the suit here.
Okay, see, that's where I think is where it gets a little iffy, is because
All right,
beforehand, for other manufacturers, like Samsung had for the longest time its own generic like browser.
It was a
whatever the
turd.
And it was a turd, but the whole point was you would get on that and
they
you're
still
like,
have it.
well, I'm not gonna. See, there you go. Yeah, I'm not gonna use this. I'm gonna go get something else. And
See, I'm
that
certain
pushes you to choice.
that Google did the world a favor and was like, get that polish out of here.
Well, no.
Jesus.
Google did have their own, actually. Android did come pre-installed with its own generic browser. It was based on Chrome's engine, but it didn't have any of the frills and everything like that. Now it's just straight up Chrome.
So and I think the big issue too is, doesn't Google divide its specific departments in a specific way for like how money is counted?
Alphabet, but yes.
Because it's
Yeah,
Alphabet, but so like Chrome isn't technically under.
There's a Google umbrella that
anything
does
that-
have a lot of subsidiaries.
Anything
in
that
it.
has the Google name in it is part of the Google division. Anything with the Android name is under the Android division. I think they're two separate organizations or companies there.
I think that's where the fear comes in, is the fact that this is all driven by them. Granted, I'm with you. I don't think that they should be fine like this. This is kind of
This is a little outlandish.
This
crazy,
really
but-
makes me want to just pull a flag out from under this table and just wave an American flag. I don't mean any disrespect to European citizens or your government at all,
Actually,
but I think it's
specifically England, since we separated from Europe.
But I completely disagree with like a lot of the governmental decisions. Like the EU to me just comes after companies quite heavily.
Yeah.
Like this is totally a scenario. If I don't want to use Chrome, I will choose not to use Chrome.
Right.
But Chrome is the best, therefore I choose it.
But
I
see
use
that,
Firefox.
But
so.
see this. So this
That's
is
fine.
Where,
You chose that
Yeah.
though.
But see, this is where I'm thinking too. Okay, so why isn't Apple getting sued? Why isn't Microsoft getting sued? Because how many times does Edge pop up on Windows 10 and tell you, "Hey, would you like to try out Edge?" Even
Yeah.
though you're using Google Chrome, which is obviously better.
Because Dell
I don't
doesn't make a
use
browser.
PCs, I don't know what that means.
That's their whole thing. If Dell made a browser,
Safari does the same thing.
Yeah, I know.
but that's their whole thing. Is Dell's not complaining, so maybe Samsung complained there. Maybe HTC.
No.
complained there.
Actually, Microsoft complained apparently because Bing's not an option on an Android
Because
phone.
Bing's
Even though you can, even though you can download a Bing app.
I think what it
I
really
think it's
comes down
bullshit.
to
I think
is
Yahoo complained too.
it comes down to
think it was
performance.
Yeah.
Google makes a lot of good digital software products that people want to utilize.
Right.
So when they make that the front runner on their phone, it seems like they're shoving it in everyone's face. Which, granted,
How is that antitrust?
I don't disagree. Again, I think they have every right to do that here in the United States. I think that's fine.
Antitrust
I've
would
never
be like,
understood
I'm going
because-
to force it to where you can't do
And
that.
One of the differences-
Android is an Alphabet product.
Yeah.
Correct.
If Android wants, or if Alphabet wants to put Google apps and Google products on Android products that they're distributing out to everybody else. I don't understand where there's a problem there.
I don't see the
Like,
antitrust.
that's my problem.
They have to appeal this.
You see,
They're going to the highest court to
the issue
appeal.
is that the odds of them losing this are highly likely,
Yeah.
just because like we're really a capitalist country here. Like companies determine the most here in the U.S.
So
there they don't. It's heavily on the EU board.
interesting turn. After the fine was imposed, Donald Trump was the first person to respond about this.
I have no doubt. Well, the big thing is because one, at the end of the day, Google's an American company. Whether we like him or not, he's at least an American and he supports America.
All their money gets ran through Ireland.
But
you should just go back to
Put that
that
out there.
red, white, and blue cat.
Yeah,
he had
yeah, just
yesterday in
take
that
out
tank
the
top.
13%.
He had
Flag
an American
way
flag
more.
tank top on
Yes.
last night. It was great.
but
You are wearing a green shirt. You could easily just green screen it into. Your
oh,
thing.
I could do that. That probably didn't happen though.
please,
Right
do.
in the middle.
But I find it very odd. Like my biggest issue here is just like I don't know. I'm super like for companies and I'm super for capitalism.
Yep.
So it's like it's very painful to me. I think it's odd that Trump did say things about it, but I also understand his reasoning of this could impact Android phones not only in the EU but in the US.
Mm-hmm.
This could impact all phone manufacturers. If in the scenario that Google's like, cool, hey, you remember that Android thing that's free? Now that you guys have all killed your OSs, pay us. And that sucks because now all your $1,000 Samsungs, $1,500.
Yeah.
I was about to say, if Google
Jesus.
wanted to, all they'd have to do is say, hey, download Chrome for $1 at that point.
No,
Yeah,
it's
well,
not Chrome. It's
that's-
to use the OS. So right now, to use Android on any Samsung phone is free.
Yeah.
So if they're like, hey, Samsung, every device was $100. Samsung's like, cool. Hey, next year's phone, $100 more.
Well, no. So here's the thing. Android's technically an open source project. So the operating system by itself is open and available. What they're actually paying the licensing for is the ability to install Google Play Store.
Yeah.
With Google Play Store requires them to install Google Search and Chrome.
Insert Kindle devices.
Yeah.
That's what
Kindle
devices do.
devices don't come with Google Play Store, so they
Yep.
can use the Android operating system like that with their
That's
own.
why their
store.
apps suck. You
Yes.
hear me, Amazon? Your app sucks.
Silk is a terrible
Buy the
browser.
freaking
You know what's
Google
funny, too?
Play Store crap.
Is you can install the Android App Store on any Google phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On any Android phone. Through
But
the
you
Google Play
can't
Store.
install the Google Play Store through the freaking Kindle.
Yeah.
I hate it so much.
But
Their
that's
thing
that's
is
why.
trash.
Silk
Because
is the worst
Amazon-
browser.
Silk is the
worst
worst browser.
It's worse than IE.
Oh my
And
god!
I never thought I would say
Wow.
those
And what's
words.
worse is like
That's
it doesn't
bad.
matter. I could never even blame it on the Kindle's hardware. I want to be like, oh, your internet receivers just suck. But it's like I can be on a page and it'll be like the text will load and then the ad will break the page and I'm like, I'm just gonna look at my phone.
You said worse than Internet Explorer. My mind went straight to Navigator.
Navigator?
Netscape?
Yeah.
No. Are you ancient?
Yes. Yes.
We were using that when we were in high school.
It's really frustrating because
High school.
I understand the fear.
Google was new.
Yeah.
So were USBs.
I understand the fear
That's the
of
devil's
this
arms.
decision because that's what this decision was made on. It
Yeah.
was made upon fear.
Yeah.
But I also do think this is a heavily overstepping bounds here
Yeah.
because if the choice is still there, it's one thing if Google is like, guess what? Only available on the Play Store is Google Chrome and Google Search. Then you can start talking about
Instead, you can get
That's
Firefox,
antitrust.
Dolphin browser. I mean, you can get.
Yeah.
I think Edge even has an app. I'm not sure, but like.
and there's 100 billion freaking Chrome knockoffs out there. So
I just have to. I got to read this. I got to read more into this because antitrust is super specific. Like there are a lot of specific laws for this, so they had to have gone on a basis.
now
Well,
it's
they're
important to note that we're talking about European Union laws compared to the United States. So there
God damn,
are
that's
going to
right.
be some
Sorry, my bad.
distinctions that may be different.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
So, general consensus is don't agree.
The EU is retarded.
Yeah, I mean, I understand where they're coming from, but I don't think that this decision makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, part of the fine I think is maybe because they said that Google didn't participate or didn't want to participate in it when Google apparently had approached them about this last year. But I guess it wasn't the right time, and they said it was too early or whatever it was anyway. So they said now it's too little, too late, and so the fines.
I just want to
imposed,
know
but
how they're like.
I
I have the
don't
balls
agree
to
with
say,
it.
"Give me $5 billion."
Tell them to sit on it, rotate, and call it a day.
Be like,
See,
what
I'm
are you gonna
wondering-
do?
I'm wondering how long it's going to be before somebody says, "All right, that's fine. We're just not going to sell our products, in your country." I mean, that's fine. It's a big
Yeah.
financial hit, but how long does it
Are
take
you
the
having
people to
time every
revolt
time I
back and
cuss?
say,
Well,
"Whoa,
you missed like 3 of them
Yeah.
earlier.
let's
not
check
good.
some stuff here," like.
Well, not only that, I mean, I feel like Like legal precedence is weird. I'm not a lawyer. I don't quite understand how all of it works. But if they were to settle out of court, that doesn't necessarily form the precedence as if they were to lose in an actual court case. Right. So if Google were just to go be like, cool, done.
Well, I was about to say, if they do settle out of court, there's not going to be any precedence.
Well, exactly.
Well, actually, that's what they tried to do before. Is they apparently asked to settle and try to have a private conversation about it. And then
but that is going to set a precedence to the EU itself, saying we can pretty much hold anybody we want accountable for whatever we want if we just want money.
I just want Google to just be like, yeah, you know what, the EU's about to disband. Fuck off.
Yep. Well, not only that,
we
but
have breaking guys going,
hey, I don't want to have to pay for all the stuff that Donald Trump is making us pay for now. So Google, fork up the money. It's like we're just gonna throw that into a giant pool.
Supposedly, everybody's afraid that the Pixel 3 price is going to go up because of it.
If this happens, I mean, if this can maintains, then I will in no way, shape, or form be surprised if Samsung, HTC, and everyone has to either pay for Google or pay for Android, or all the devices will go up.
Yep.
Yeah,
which sucks.
Yeah.
I think that there's a good reason that we are an independent nation,
would eat that.
bound on freedom.
America. Really? No one? All right.
Yeah,
trying to walk a dark street.
I'm proud of all of you.
I was looking at you like, is he trying to bleep it out or what?
I was about to say it, and I was like, nope.
I just in my head just visualizing that made me happy enough.
Yeah.
Little
Fuck
flags.
yeah.
That sex scene was on point.
You better mark it. Get it? Yeah, because Mark. So funny. Moving on to Dylan, because we're talking about smartphones here, and you had some interesting desires to hear from us about what we want in smartphones in the future.
Are we going to mark that too?
Yep.
I mean, why not?
It's check marked.
Does that mean I got to go first?
Ka-ching. Done.
This is painful. I want you to know that. But yeah,
you thought you could leave me behind. I'm here.
He's now thinking back to the end of the last podcast. He's
Oh,
been
so
planning
good.
this day
So good.
since then. But no, Samsung, it has been heavily in the news for the past, I don't know, I feel like 6 months now. But I think it's Samsung Project X, which is most likely going to come out next year. Is going to be their bendable phone, basically. It's going to seemingly be it's going to be technically 3 screens, most likely, from what everyone thinks. It's going to bend. It's going to basically be like a phone. It's going to open up. It's going to be like a little tablet. These are 2 individual screens. The whole back is 1 screen, so when it's folded down, it's a front and back screen. When it's open, there's 2 screens. It could be a top screen and a keyboard, or top screen and bottom screen, or whatever.
I thought it was supposed to be 1 continuous screen all the way around.
The outside will be.
No, I thought that meant the inside.
It's going to be
the
2
other way
separate
around.
screens, yeah. There'll be a continuous one on the outside, 2 separate on the inside.
Got it.
That's the current projection. Could totally be wrong. Could change it. But most likely they're going to try to launch that next year. That's why this year is going to be a conservative year. They are
with a projector.
It is not. That is, old man, that was a really good old phone. That was the concept of the old, what was that, the Firebird phone or something like that? Or Thunderbird or something?
I remember
that was a super dope concept. Either way, this is most likely coming out next year. They're projecting it's going to cost 2 Gs. Anywhere from the 1,800 to 2,500 mark.
Does it come with an insurance plan?
No, but I think they do have kidney selling applications with it.
If I drop it and crack a screen, is it going to be easy to just take apart and put a new one in?
Absolutely.
No. It is supposed to be
What
more
world do you
close.
think we live in?
It is going to supposedly be more close to a plasticky, I don't know, like a bendable screen, obviously. So it's not going to be like glass that would shatter, I guess. So hopefully the plastic doesn't tear, I guess. I don't know.
I wish they would just sell you the 3D printer code to print it off, so that way you can just reprint it after you get done breaking.
There's going to be no cases that fit this phone. I want to be abundantly clear.
No way.
It's also going to cost $2,000, and there's going to be no cases that fit this phone. But also this year you have a couple things we're getting. It's very diverse in the smartphone world, which is why I want to bring this up. This year the iPhone X, or the iPhone X successor, which is the phone that I have, they're going to have a cheap version. They're making a LCD version of it, which I believe they're targeting for $500. And it's basically going to be all the iPhone X specs, the iPhone X size and everything. It's going to be a little bit off because of the way the LCD screen makes it fit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But the screen size will be pretty much the same. The phone will just be a little fatter and wider.
What's the X use right now?
What?
What screen?
Oh, it's OLED.
It's OLED?
Yep. So
OLED.
both the new.
You know what piece of fine technology brought OLED to the forefront?
Vita.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I don't think it did. But
Have it, the X.
actually, is the Vita still OLED?
No.
Yeah,
this-
Oh, it's not.
They went with this. It's almost like Apple's copying them because they went with a smaller one, same specs, cheaper screen.
Okay, that's weird. So
But
there's
you know what
supposedly
got people to buy the Vita? The OLED screen.
I think it was the touch on the back, honestly.
We need to
But anyway, so the iPhone X, This year we'll have a cheap version, I guess, a budget version, which is supposed to be $500. They're wanting to appeal to the masses with it. The new one is going to be beefed up in specs. They're going to be using the new OLED and all that crap, and it's going to have, I think, a regular and an XL size finally. So it's going to be, I think, $1,000 and $1,200. And then next year's phone we're talking about could be up to 2Gs to 2,500. The price ranging in phones is getting very dramatic here.
Yeah.
I know that we all use our phones for very different applications. 2 of us have iPhones, 2 of us have Androids. You, when I first met you, had a very old Android phone, right?
Not very old.
It was
but
like a
older,
year or 2 year old.
Yeah,
it was like 2 years old.
Definitely older
You don't
than
get
2
one
years.
every year, is what I
No,
mean.
I definitely don't.
Extremely
You also don't get one every year either, do you?
No.
Yeah. Me and Mark, I think, get one every year.
Yeah.
I usually get at least one a year, usually sometimes 2. So
Wow.
it's very, I like technology.
Oh yeah.
Do you like set aside a budget for that?
No, I just buy them outright and I resell them only like $100. So it'll cost me like $100 to have a phone for like 6 months.
If you
bad.
run out
Yeah.
like what the spec is of like how much that actually costs you every year, it's actually cheaper.
Yeah, like if you,
Yeah.
I mean, I also try to buy like, if I, don't ever take this advice from me, I'm a terrible human. But I'll buy like a couple iPhone X's and then try to sell them and make money off the launch. So then it'll pay for my whole phone. So it's
Yeah.
whatever. But so I'm curious, with technology getting crazy with phones, the projections, or we're going to have watches and projectors and all kinds of crazy stuff with phones. What do you want? And it's going to be interesting because, no offense to you guys don't seemingly keep up with the most cutting edge technology or get the newest thing every year, whereas me and Mark do. So I'm very curious to see the.
You know, just because
He's
I
the
don't
most
have-
fascinated about freaking spill this cup.
I need a little bit more water because I'm
Okay.
really thirsty, and Mark's over here holding me out like a desert.
A
Thanks,
good
Mark. You're the best.
P sound there, but continue, John. John, go ahead.
I'm wanting. You know what I want?
You lost your train of thought. That's
No,
for certain.
I want an iPhone watch with a projector in it, so I can just point it at the wall and like have my phone and be like, "Watch this."
Yeah, your arm will get tired.
No, it won't.
Yes,
I have
it
to do
will.
this.
It's so inconvenient.
What you said? This is what I would use it for because I look at
I think
videos. I'm
you-
like, check this out.
I
And I don't have to
think-
give them my
But
phone.
if you left, you go.
Yeah.
No, I would be like,
No, can you imagine
You
the horror
couldn't.
movie?
You couldn't.
why
No,
would I hold it for a movie?
that would be a weird thing. No,
This
now,
is where we're confused.
now
Everybody
if
want to watch Netflix?
now we got John in the bathroom watching porn on the wall. Like I can't see it.
It's just bouncing off
Yeah.
of the shower curtain.
This is why I bought the left-handed one.
I'm sorry. The application. All I'm saying is,
Stranger.
I'm like, putting this out there. I'm the first one to say it. Watches with a projector in it. Google Go.
See, I actually don't think that'd be a bad idea because you could build the band actually, so that way it could stand up on its own. So you literally take it off and you just stand it.
Yeah.
Boom.
There you go. Boom.
I think battery tech needs to get better for that, but
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
You're
though.
not
I mean,
wrong.
You just plug it in.
Plug it in. Plug it in.
I mean, are you gonna? When is your application of watching TV with your phone watch? Is it just gonna be in a park? You're gonna project it on a squirrel?
or think of it like this. Maybe like Google Glass, where you can have like an attachment for a projector, and you can hook it up and just.
Maybe I'm hiking in the mountains and I have great reception. I'm like, man, I'm really tired. I'm gonna take a nap. I'm gonna put on Netflix with my phone.
He's broken.
Yep.
1 week, and this is what happens to him.
I mean, I could see where it could actually be potentially useful on a day-to-day basis if you were like someone like art designer or something like that, and you were like, hey,
Are you
check
talking
this
about-
out, and you're like in this group meeting thing, and you don't have like a
I mean,
solid.
I could
projector.
see it for
really
quick
want this.
projections like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the main intention for it, but
I'll sell it.
it's kind of to me
I already
it's a
did.
niche
I
use
got
case, but I mean I
30.
definitely get the concept though.
No, what you just need the way you solve this problem is you just get Chromecast to be much more efficient. You have a video on your screen and go, it's on that TV.
Yeah, no, and it's like the Tony Stark thing where
Yeah.
he's like sitting there hacking in there all the TVs. I want that. I want
Yeah.
that to be possible.
So
but
you
until then,
can-
I have a projector in my wall.
So when you're walking through an office, you can be like, let me watch these people forget and just splash porn on there. In the middle of an office.
think there's
As you're
gonna be a
standing here
lot.
like this and just sort of broadcasting off your wrist.
Well, it's like the people
Kim
now that go
Jong-un
into
giving a
stores and they're
speech.
like, "Oh, I'm just gonna put porn on here," and then like hack into the Bluetooth, and all of a sudden you just hear a bunch of people moaning in the store.
So
And when I wake up from my nap, I'm gonna be surrounded by deer and squirrels.
you back to
gonna
the
be
mountains, I forgot about this. You're
I
gonna be watching Bambi.
I am watching Bambi. I want to take this device right here, and I want to be able to slap it on my wrist like those wristbands.
The Nokia Morph.
Sure,
Yeah.
whatever you want to
Or
call
the
it.
thing that projects it onto
an
your arm,
interesting
and
idea.
you're able just to use it real quick.
I want that
you know?
embedded in it too, so that way I could slap it on and go, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, that's
You
what
would
I'm-
rock-
like, that's my point. Is like having
You would
a watch-based
rock an
system.
embedded phone.
No.
Okay.
The one with the displays the screen on your.
I thought you meant
computer
you
screen.
wanted the phone in your hand or
We
something.
can go straight Futurama and just have the iPhone,
iPhone,
just
yeah.
strictly in your
No, I watched too much Black Mirror for that.
Yeah, it gets
No,
creepy
good,
after
well,
a while.
I'm already worried half the time when I walk in his house. Leave the and say he's like, I know where he's at.
Google's taking over the house.
He
But-
goes home. You get home. Your house just welcomes you. You
But
left
no,
Dylan's
Home
house 23
bastard.
minutes ago.
I think that's great because it's simple. If you have the phone that is moldable, where it's literally just the one screen, but you can mold it around however you want, it's easy to conform to whatever the use you need out of it is. It's also interesting, kind of weird, futury. I don't need much more than that.
Mark, you got any preferences, desires?
I mean, I think honestly, I think the phone turned into a watch band. Actually, that's a really cool idea. Projection's not a bad idea. Honestly, something that I could open up, I guess, dual purpose. Phone, laptop, kind of combined because processing tech's gotten a lot better anyway. It's gotten a lot smaller. Something I could literally. I mean, I know a lot of this already exists, but it's not great. I think if they worked on the tech to take your phone, plug it in, basically, and have a decent laptop in front of me,
Yeah.
that would be fantastic. Or
Yeah.
have the ability to run a second operating system like a
Like
Linux
it's an
or something like
assist
that, or-
RAM kind of situation where it just gives you a little bit more power and speed.
Right, yeah, like it has maybe its own battery pack to charge your phone while you're using it, and you're on your laptop. I mean, something along those lines. I mean, it's not like I guess out there.
I
tech,
could see
but,
that happening with like a Windows-based phone or something.
I think
Because-
Razer was making one, weren't they?
They already have one.
Yeah,
It was a concept that they did, but like the idea is perfect that a little bit.
Yeah.
They also made the modular phone where you could like just take off, put a projector on, or take it off, put a bit of camera and stuff like that.
He's really
That-
stuck on this projector idea.
He really is, man.
All I'm saying is projectors are fun to play with. That's one of my things when I was.
I have
a
a.
kid.
you know, I
do you
have
have
one
a
in the
projector
garage,
in your
right?
house?
I have a small. I even have a small mini.
We
HDMI
have one in the
projector I
garage, right?
We
I
could
mean-
totally use that for Circle of Death rule. Anytime the bat signal's displayed, everyone has to put their ears up.
Viking.
Anyways, I
I'm
digress.
so terrified of you guys sometimes. One thing that I am interested that you guys didn't really bring up, but is Google Glass. I hope that is something more prevalent in the future, mainly because I really don't like, I guess, phones a whole lot. I mean, they're very convenient, but like, I wish that we weren't as reliant on them, and myself included, of course, because like I do use it for convenience. Like I just wish I was notified of what I need to be notified of, and just not play on my phone at work or whatever. Like just I don't want to get distracted with it. So that's why I think that like if I had something like a Google Glass, I would obviously looking way better than Google Glass looked because that looked terrible.
Contact lens.
Yeah.
It could be contact lenses, or it could just be like just like a clean pair of glasses, but something that like, hey, I'm going to work, whatever. I could just put it on. It's like I get notified, cool, and it's out of my way, and it's like I don't need to carry anything or put it in my pocket. And it would just be kind of out of the way when I want to separate myself from technology. Just cool, I'm out.
See, I don't think having something that's not this is going to change your habits that you formed on here. Like you're still going to be like, well, I'm bored. I'm going to search the web. I'm still going to go on Twitter. That's just a habit breaking thing.
Yeah.
It's ingrained into it.
Yeah, but see, I don't want to ever wear glasses, so I know I'd be like, I'm screwed.
I want Google Glass with sunglasses.
That you just get adjusting lenses, transition lenses.
I mean, if you could use it in that fashion, I don't see why not. Yeah, that would work.
Or better yet, they'd be able to be controlled by like the UI anyway when you're looking around and doing stuff.
But upon your projector
Well,
thing,
that and I could look at porn and no one could see my eyes getting all.
what? Why? But upon the projector doodatter concept, one thing that I have always thought was super cool is it's the stylus on Samsung phones. They did a weird thing with it a long time ago. Probably like Note 4 maybe.
Steve uses it all the time.
Yeah, that guy right there. And what they did was, you also saw it in a couple phone concepts, like the Nokia Morph concept. I don't know if you guys ever seen that, but it's a pretty cool concept. But you can use that guy in the world, right? So like right now, maybe you still can do it on there. There used to be like a space app you could have on your phone, and then the stylus up here, you could drag it around space and make space move and stuff. And it was like basically a 3D wand, right?
Interesting.
So having that same concept with your Google Glass here, of like, hey, you need to click anything, have like a small little like almost like a lipstick size little container or whatever, like maybe like a little screen or joystick it can touch and knows where you're touching on whatever. And like, oh cool, let me type this really quickly, or let me scroll or grab or click or whatever. And then you know what, maybe put it on the ground in a projection.
See, and that's what I was thinking. It's almost like everything in Tony Stark's world is what I want.
Yeah.
I want, or even there was
I mean, AR tech would
There
be
was a
perfect
movie
for
where
this.
he was sitting there moving things around.
Yeah, AR is the reason that I want the
Minority
Yeah.
Report.
Minority
Base.
Report, thank you.
But
That is what I want. But like in your sense, you just put it in the middle, and all of a sudden you just got this computer that is like in this force field that you're able to play with and do.
Well, see, mine, the glasses concept, the reason I like it is because of AR, of like, where you're talking about, like, oh, let me project this video, like I'm a weird Spider-Man.
That's what I was thinking of, too.
Yeah. Instead,
Don't hate on Video Spider-Man.
we could all be at our respective workplaces, and I'm like, hey, guys, check out this video, and then, bloop, it's up here in the top left of your little screen, and you're just like, why is Dylan sending me crap at
Why is
work?
Dylan sending me spam again?
why is Dylan sending me certain
Well, I mean,
pictures
can
I
you
probably
imagine
shouldn't
if
mention
you
on camera?
made Google Glass more into a VR experience where it
AR.
does constantly make this thing for you, where you can say, okay, Google, open,
You
circle
got-
mode
you
or
got-
whatever it is.
you got retina
and you're able
tracking.
to look around and do things. That
Well,
would be really
see,
cool.
that's where I thought the contact lens idea would be kind of cool. Better yet, if AR tech kind of meshed together, if there became a universal standard
I don't
on
want
it.
electricity on my ball.
I was about to say,
That's
all I
the-
can imagine is that battery frying,
Yeah.
Oh, man.
fusing to your eye.
Glasses ain't gonna make that much better. For
Yeah.
just done.
It's
Like,
at least not on my.
It's
I can
not
close my
storing
eyelids
energy.
quickly.
Not
It's
that
literally
quickly.
using the heat energy
But-
and transferring it into electrical impulses.
We're getting
that
too
are
deep
already
into that.
being used
That's
in
got a
real
little
life.
battery in there. It's got
stepping
a-
away we're getting into the bad stuff.
Sadly,
Let's
none
not-
of us have
let's-
science
Surge
degrees.
Like a transistor or something.
No.
Yeah, physics degree. That's close, right?
It burned out.
no, not
Right
quite.
in
No.
the phobias.
No, but like AR through like contact lens or glasses, that kind of thing would be kind of cool because especially if there's an open standard for it, where like I walk into work, for example, yeah, like, okay, fine, like my phone is my glasses and that kind of thing. But if it's AR tech, then I can have as many screens, I can have things projected like on the surfaces around me. Better yet, when I walk in, I can have literally an unlimited number of screens at my desk.
That would be so nice.
My physical keyboard would actually tie into like my pair of glasses or my contact lenses, and just sort of like I can look around, I can create a new screen up here if I want to, drag windows around, do whatever.
And this would be so easy to do. All you just need is we already have the technology. You just need QR codes. You have a little QR code on your keyboard. When you look at it, boom, it's inputting on your headphone or your glasses or whatever. Because your glasses obviously have cameras, like, all connected.
What's great about that too is the AR tech was supposedly already starting anyway, since VR tech is what it is. You know, like the ability. It's not really AR, I guess. You're more of put into like a virtual desk or virtual office, and you can create as many screens as you like, and your desktop actually renders them out as far as like Windows.
Yeah, I'm gonna go on like as convenient as VR desktop is currently. It's really inconvenient as well. Like it's one of those things where it's like, oh, this is great. I basically have unlimited real estate. And it's like, I need that document. Scroll.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, you could also do something where like you make shortcuts.
Yeah.
And that would be able to make it a lot more.
Nintendo had this awesome thing called the Power Glove. You could
Yeah,
just wear the Power
exactly.
Glove. You got your keyboard right there. Then you can
See, that's
move
why I
stuff
think
around.
there was
A
a.
projector
I feel like
attached
the
to it.
keyboard's really.
I don't know if you remember this, Mark, but when we were in college, there was this app that I got super infatuated with because I hate texting on. Whenever we converted to full touchscreen phones, I was like, this texting experience is trash. I hate it. I hated all touchscreen phones at the beginning. I wanted my old Droid slide up with the big fat keyboard down the whole side, right?
Yeah.
But this program came out very early on both Android and iOS. It was called 8-Pin, and it was a circle in the middle, and it was split up into 4 quadrants or whatever, and you would just touch the center, and then your brain would remember them like cursive. So it'd be like, I need to go to the bottom cube and then 3 over, and that'd give me the third letter there. So it'd be like, you would just quickly, like in cursive, write letters with one finger, and it was like, you just draw like little swirlies, and it'd be like, oh, the cat, whatever, yada yada, and it was super fast and intuitive, and I liked it. And then no one used the app, and it died, and I was like, you motherfucker.
Well, make it again.
But that type of like texting experience you could do on like a small little device if you needed to do a quick input, or like I said, like you need to click something and move it around. And I think with the AR tech, you have advertising, you have everything. I can send you a video, or we could all be like, hey, on that whole wall there's a screen now, and there's no screen obviously, but
but the problem with the AR experience is that the number one issue coming with that isn't going to be technology, it's rights. It's the ability to use your camera with strangers and not get litigated.
USA.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
at this point, if
that's
you're
a big
out in
issue with
public
Google
and you're out
Glass
in
right
public-
now, where
Well,
people were getting filmed on things that they didn't
but
want to
even
be
if
filmed on.
even if it's not the camera, you could still go with IR emitters, that actually trace the space around it, which is actually going
Here's
to be
a
more
fix.
precise than using a camera.
Jarvis.
So like if you would just have like we could install like IR transmitters like that exist around here that are good for broadcasting for like 8 years or 10 years or something like that. Immediately worth it because it helps like improve the detail, I guess, for whatever device.
Well, I think
they
Can you
the-
imagine a world
to
where
Brent's-
you're walking around with a little thing on your collar and it blurs out your face so that way no one can film you without your permission?
That
yeah,
exists.
they
It's-
did.
They do reflective hats for that now.
Yeah.
Reflective hats?
Yeah,
and
Celebrities
jackets.
will
Yeah,
wear
try
like
to take a
reflective stuff.
picture.
It'll blur it
That's
out.
also an
Never
episode
did
of
exist.
Black
Overpowers
Mirror
Flash,
called
yeah.
White Christmas, and it's terrifying. It's a punishment. If you're not allowed back into society, like instead of putting you in prison, they just make it so you can't interact with anybody because everyone has contact lenses.
Are you
Don't-
able to put yourself there on purpose?
No. But what it would do is prevent you from even seeing your mom, your dad, no one. It would just white face.
wait.
You can't hear what they say.
And this
Wait,
isn't
wait.
a real thing.
No, it's not real.
I missed that. Was that from Black Mirror?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I remember.
Terrifying.
That
I was like,
episode.
huh.
Yeah, no, the inability to see or speak with
That is
literally
daunting.
anybody.
Yeah.
But to what you were talking about, in the Google Glass issue, when I went to PAX East for the first time in 2013.
Bragging.
No. But it was right when Google Glass first came out. It was kind of like a big deal or whatever.
Yeah.
And at one time during the weekend, I went to the bathroom. There's a couple people there that had Google Glass, but it was, I guess, people maybe like techies reviewing it or whatever, because I feel like it was pretty new. But I went to the bathroom, and there was the dude in there, and he's wearing his Google Glass, right? And this somewhat intoxicated male was very offended by this, because I guess he thought he was using his Google, because, I don't know, whenever you
He's
wink
using
with
his
Google.
Google to video his Google.
Yeah. So whenever you like,
Can I go Google
whenever you,
myself?
You have to like strongly close your eyes and it would take a picture.
right? So like, I guess he blinked or whatever while peeing, and the guy was like freaked out, thought he was taking a picture of his junk or whatever, and I was like, what? No. Okay. One, if he was, that's really weird. Two, why is that urinating? Okay, you're drunk. Never mind.
to your answer with like IR sensors, I think you could use that also to notify like, hey, the device turns off. Like, place them around bathroom doors so as you walk
I'm
in,
gonna
the
go and let you
device
know.
enters a
I'm
specific
gonna go and
mode.
let you know now. That's a haunted house right there. You walk in, it's like device disconnecting. Like, I'm out. I'm out, guys.
Yeah, I mean,
no,
but
sir.
At that point, you could just do like noise broadcasters or something like that in there where it actually can't trace. Well, I mean, I'm not sure if IR noise is something a thing you could really
I'm
do.
sorry, but like if you're that, go install. Just go. Close the door.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some people who just genuinely, even walking down the street, they don't want to be filmed. That is a big deal for them.
Yeah, but if you're in
Don't go
public,
in public.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
unfortunately,
cameras everywhere.
unfortunately in
Yeah,
the
that
U.S.
already
anyway,
exists.
there's nothing you can do about that.
I mean, it's worse.
Well,
in
it's in the
Europe.
bathroom. Like, to me, just I don't like when people touch me. Like, come on now. I can't imagine somebody just being like, "Hey, what you doing, buddy?"
My favorite
I'm
part is when
peeing.
I'm
You-
taking a shit and they're like, "Hey, buddy." What? Yeah, it sounds like it's pretty rough, and I'm like, "Why are you talking to me right now?" Yeah, bleep.
I got it. God. I hate that too. That is my least favorite thing when people are like, hey, everything okay in there?
No,
yeah,
I
we
had-
got to do this. I'm like,
To me, that's like
the
a high.
bathroom.
To me, that's a high score. The other day on Amazon Prime Day, actually, I was having a fantastic day, and as I am having a fantastic day, the male beside me in the stall just goes, "Oh, you know that poopery stuff's on sale on Prime Day, right?" I was like, "Yes." Taking over the workplace, setting down
So
my
did you
ground.
actually fill your doorway?
What? Oh,
on
it's
Prime
no.
Day?
Sadly, no.
No.
I mean, there's still a mountain of boxes down there.
there wasn't a good enough, like, things
Not
that
to
I
me,
wanted,
not enough
yeah.
selection. I mean, I got a memory card, 400 gigs, but
400 gigs on a memory card.
yeah, on a SD card.
I hope it was 256. 400 is a very odd number.
400 gigs.
It's probably 480 or something like that.
No,
Okay.
it's 400 gigs.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all you got? That's the smallest package
They
ever.
usually go in increment, like a.
I know what you're talking about, but it's 400
Okay.
gigs.
Well, I mean, it is divided by 4, so it should still work.
What do you mean?
Because normally it's how they increment.
It's 128,
it's usually by
256.
eight.
It's
They do
usually
4,
multiples
8,
of two.
16.
It's what?
32,
What is that called? 4
64.
factors of 4.
Yeah.
That's not an even factor of 4.
400?
No. That's 4 to the 100th. That's not a
No,
factor of 4.
like they're usually done in powers of 2.
No, it's 4.
Powers
right?
of 2. No, it's powers of 2. He's right.
Yeah.
512,
512s.
1024.
Yeah, it's 512. That's
38.
it. There we go.
Yeah.
What kind of fucking do that, man?
I don't know what to tell you. They made a
feel violated.
400 gig.
Okay,
No,
well,
it should be. But anyway, anyway,
Yeah, so here we are with our phone designs.
For a second,
Yes.
I thought you were talking about price, and I was like, that was a lot cheaper than that.
The biggest hope I have for cell phones in the future is that cell phones go back to what they were 10 years ago.
You're out
Flip
of your
phones,
mind.
baby.
It'll
One-handed.
happen.
I want
Nostalgia will
SMS
bring it back.
and I want
But
calling.
it's going to bring it back in the worst way
You
possible.
can give me photos and that's it.
It's going to bring it back in the worst way possible, where it's going to be a terrible phone. Nobody
I
ever
don't
carries it.
care.
You're not going to be able to
No,
find
no,
it.
what I want on the phone is I want my phone to have, if you have an iPhone, because it's easier and Android doesn't standardize things and they're Nazis about it. Not actual Nazis. I don't want to be compared to PewDiePie.
Ooh.
iPhone. I want SMS. I want iMessage. I want the phone option. I want FaceTime.
I feel like
That's it.
You
Nothing
put
else.
this
Done.
topic just so you can continue to talk about
Just
cell
get rid of
phones.
Done.
FaceTime and
tonight.
just have Marco Polo.
That's not real.
I think it's time to move on to our third topic of the evening, since we have been on this forever.
Not forever.
Not forever. It's not that bad.
Not forever.
I wanted to talk about how various video game makers are handling their community and toxicity. So I don't know if either of you know this, but Rainbow Six Siege with Ubisoft has decided that they're going to come out and they're going to start auto-banning people for any type of hate speech, any type of hateful language.
Wow.
They have a system in place where you say anything and it's done. You're banned.
Goodbye, First Amendment.
Whoa. Like no warnings.
No warning, nothing.
kicks. Wow.
Banned.
You might want to get that space bar going.
Now here-
you cannot say.
Here's what I thought was interesting, though, is that Overwatch came out with something completely different, in which they've basically made a fake happy, fake friendly system, where if you are friendlier to people, you are able to build a specific rapport about yourself, and that rapport continues to grow. You have access to more things. They even give you points and stuff. However, the second you get called out on something, that level goes back down to 0 and you have to build it up again.
Wow.
And you can send
seems dramatic.
positive messages about friends, but you can only send one per friend per day. It's a very specific system, but according to anecdotally people that we know who play Overwatch and from some various reports, it has made the game much better, less toxicity in general.
I think they're doing it all wrong. What they need to do is make a purgatory for these people.
No, they just need.
No. It's like think about it. All of the racist people go into this server.
It's
and
not
just take all the text that they're writing and then
It's
start
not even that.
posting it with their names on there.
I don't want to sound like the, I guess, anti-modern day police or whatever, but I feel like that all the time. But to me, what makes PUBG and H1Z1 and all the BRs not named Fortnite is because you have proximity chat. It is toxic and it is terrible, but it is amazing. It leads to some of the coolest stuff. Some of the coolest stuff I've seen in gaming has been like Summits in the Pit was a huge thing in H1, and it was a big streamer used to go to this pit, and then people would yell Summits in the Pit, and you'd have 50 people go over there. And sure, you have people being offensive, and you have people yelling stuff like China #1 and all that dumb crap. But we played a game of PUBG where we were trying to be funny and talk to people in the game. We all acted like cops or whatever, and it was hilarious.
It was
I
fantastic.
convinced a guy who I got a gun and he didn't have a gun, while yelling at him in game because I can and I was not being very nice. I convinced this dude to get completely naked and follow us as a prisoner, and he killed someone with a crowbar. And it was the greatest moment I've ever
It
had.
was the Stanford experiment. He was like, look what
Yeah.
I did. Look what I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, literally, he was like, "Can I do it? Can I do it? Can I do it?"
Yeah, he begged for it. Yeah, and he's socked the kid.
I don't think either of these systems would deter that from happening, though. Granted, different games.
Well, my issue is though, if one, if I'm acting like a cop, when you said the Overwatch one, I thought to myself, I was like, well, if I might be this guy's funny, but other people are this guy's offensive.
I mean, you could be reported personally, but this is based on text. It's automated through text.
no, it's reporting
Overwatch
based.
is voice chat.
No, I meant Siege.
No, Siege is also
It's
voice chat.
yeah.
Say for some reason the way I was reading it was that it was any word popped up, it would auto-populate saying, "All right, you've been taken off the server for this for so many times."
See, my thing
It
is
is just when you're speaking.
my thing is much more about it's what humor do you find? Because I find it very unfortunate because I totally think at times my humor is darker humor, or it's funny, or I totally understand there are people who would think things I say are offensive, even though I obviously don't mean them that way, and I'm not racist or any of that stuff, but I say funny stuff that totally could be taken that way, but to my friends they find that funny, and to my group they find that funny, and I'm sure there's other people out there who find that stuff funny.
Yeah.
But if we were all if there's a server in Overwatch and out of the 10 people, if 8 of us are laughing and having a good time and one person isn't because their humor isn't our humor, I'm an a-hole. I think that's dumb.
That's what I'm getting to is make a purgatory for these people. Give them a place that they can go to.
Yeah, but
where
I
they
think
can beat
that
themselves and
I think
play
that the
game.
class of bad is there's different types of bad. There's people who are legit offensive and hate the world. There's also people
purgatory
who
and there's hell.
there's people yeah. Then there's the people who grief and whatnot, which I think are a totally different type of I guess bad people. I don't think if you're trying to make really there's a YouTuber I used to follow called The Offensive Gamer, and all he did was be offensive in games, but that was his funny thing or whatever, right? Like, that dude shouldn't be stuck with the same guy who just grenade launchers his team constantly. Like, those are both bad people, and they're both bad players or whatever by this metric, but, like, those guys aren't the same. Like, that guy's, like, team killing. That guy, you just don't like his humor.
Yeah.
I'm not saying his humor's good. I'm not saying
yeah.
his humor's right, but, like, some people find that funny. It's not like maybe he's playing the game and trying really hard. He's like, it's not like he's helping you lose or whatever.
That's why I like the disclaimer when they said the ESRB is not rated for doesn't have online game gameplay. It's like you get what you get. You put yourself online, you get what you get. You're gonna get the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Like if I'm playing Call of Duty and some 12-year-old tells me he's pounding my mom, like I just want to kill him. That doesn't. I don't necessarily think. Maybe he means it. I hope not for his sake, but.
Mom, what are you doing right now?
I
This
mean,
12-year-old came over, so I gave him cookies.
Is it based on a ban system? Like, is it based on a report
It's a report
system?
system right
Like,
now.
or is
Overwatch
it
is.
actually an automated system to?
Overwatch is a report system.
Yeah.
No, I knew that, but like, is
Siege is an automatic system as far as I understand.
Yeah.
So it
Usually
actually uses,
automated.
I'm guessing, voice recognition of some
Correct.
sort. You know, okay,
You
so
drop some wordy dirty.
Yeah.
like,
Well, no. So it's
Offensive stuff.
it is
anything
lit-
homophobic.
You drop
anything.
the N-bomb. You drop
racial,
the F-bomb.
racial, and hateful slurs.
This
is
guy
what
didn't
they've
even
gone.
say the
okay.
word, but it made the assumption that he said the word. And
What's
or
really-
I
he
mean,
said
saying
the
certain
word.
slurs are fine, and actually, I'm okay with the ban system if there's a.
Saying certain slurs are fine. I was like, whoa. Jesus.
Certain ones are okay.
No, are fine to
Dirty
ban
commies.
for, like,
Yeah.
immediately, as long as there's a certain maybe appeal process too.
Yeah.
I'm assuming there has to be an appeal process if it's
I
an
honestly
instant
don't know
ban.
that
So,
much.
but what?
They give you a time limit, and that's it. As
Yeah.
far as I know, there's no
It seemed like the siege was like
appeal
a
process unless it's
a-
an ultimate ban, maybe.
Yeah, you're
I
just.
mean, because if I say another word that happens to sound like some word that also ends in like a
maggot?
certain 5 letters, and
I want to get some bread. I like to call it a
if, like,
baguette.
if,
Well, the messed up part is there's
I mean-
people that goat others into trying to get them to get angry and then trying
Yeah.
to get them
They'll
to
ban
say
it. Right.
something. And I'm like, they're just as
Well,
bad as the
but-
people saying it because they want them
right,
to say it.
which gives you the report system anyway to be able to come back on that person anyway. Or well, the problem is
I mean, I'm pretty certain if you still call him a fairy, you're
that.
still gonna get hit with it.
Yeah, you're still going to be hit with it. And
Like-
they're like, hey, stop being mean to him. I don't know. It's dumb. If you're going to play an adult game, act like an adult. The real world has people like
Yeah.
Alex Jones, Donald Day, trying to get used to it. They're not going anywhere, and they have opinions, and they have bad words.
Okay, but the point is they shouldn't. And
Well,
I guess the point is that you shouldn't. Like, if you don't want to have a toxic community, if you want to continue to play a game, you don't want to go somewhere where it's going to be toxic.
Yeah, but I think that
I used to
if you gave me the
despise
opportunity-
getting into like I'd leave lobbies sometimes because I just didn't want to listen to some kids scream the entire time. Well, I mute them, but
Yeah, you mute him.
Yeah.
I think the
Power to
big
the player.
I don't play a lot of online games. This is a well-known documented fact now.
That's true.
I
Proud of you for
am
The Last of Us, though.
also a male, so I feel like what is directed at me is typically not as bad as what's directed at females.
Oh, yeah. that's
And
true.
one of our friends is female, loves Overwatch, and has told me some pretty terrible stories about people who have just not just been an asshole for a game, but have been hounding her over and over again in matches because they're in the same server pool. And so those are the kinds of issues I see, I hear about. I'm like, okay, well, this sounds really good. I feel like the problem is there's no middle ground.
I don't
and
know why, but I
I
find
don't-
such a definitive separation between gender involvement and ethnic and like homophobic
to me-
involvement for some reason. I shouldn't, but I
Yeah.
do.
What's very odd to me is like to what you're saying. Like, I mean, even like I feel like Call of Duty just one, it has a terrible PR for it, but I also do feel like it has like at times some of the absolute worst trolls there are,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, for me, yeah, sure, it's inconvenient or whatever if I'm playing in a game where it's like some 10-year-old is just saying all kinds of vulgar obscenities the whole time. But like what Mark said, I just mute him as whatever. And like, sure, like if he's like coming after somebody and like legit like just tearing down this person, I get like, yeah, okay. He was just straight laying into this guy, like talking about his daughter or whatever. Like, sure, I get that. Report that kid, whatever. But like, my issue with like, it comes from like with what you're raised on and stuff. Because like there are certain people who like, sure, like you may say the term for a bundle of sticks and mean it in a very derogatory
Yeah.
way, but maybe it's just because you got shot. It's not like I'm saying like, hey, you're one of those.
Yeah.
Or it's not like I'm not targeting you with that. Now, there may be a scenario when I am targeting you with that, and that's obviously a worse scenario. But I don't know. I've never been of the opinion where, like, I guess words are, like, merit for banning or whatever. Like, if you're coming after someone and you're attacking them and you're, like, you are verbally abusing them, I get that. But if it's like, you kill me and I'm like, oh, you douchebag. Like,
Yeah.
that's not like, I don't literally think you're a douchebag. I'm just
Yeah.
like, well, you got me. I'm angry, whatever.
It's the locker room talk.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing that a lot of people get in trouble with, and I'm one of them. Every now and then I get with my buddies and I start saying things. I'm like, man, probably shouldn't have said that. That was stupid and kind of,
Yep.
a little insensitive. But at times, like, I'm like, we all, like, screaming stupid obscenities at each other. That's just, who we
Yeah.
are sometimes. We get around, get rowdy. But is it right?
Probably not.
I
It
think
depends on whose ears it falls on.
I think the difference though is that we're now moving into a society in which it's
PC.
becoming less and less okay. It is you have to be careful about what you say. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's just moving into that direction. And these companies want to keep their communities thriving, and this is a solution for them.
Yeah.
See, I definitely think they're going to walk the line, though. I think it's going to go from thriving to aggression really quickly. Like, I know back in the day, well before, because currently right now Twitch is going through a very strict time of, like, banning people for obscenities and banning people for being very derogatory and stuff. And even the most recent Fortnite, they had a rule where if you cuss out of combat, like if you die, like if somebody kills you and you're like, what the, or something like that, like they wouldn't ban you. But if you just cuss to cuss inside their last tournament, you'd forfeit that round.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is the stupidest thing
Yeah.
ever. I get it because like they control the tournament, whatever. I don't disagree. I don't agree with it, obviously. But like when I streamed in probably 2012, 2013, not long after it left Justin TV and was Twitch. And I streamed for like a good while. I streamed for probably about a year and a half. And Mark knows, like, my biggest issue back then of, like, it was more of future planning of, like, when we play games, we get rowdy and we say dumb stuff. And, like, sometimes we're offensive. Sometimes we try to be funny. And obviously on certain sets of ears, it wouldn't be taken well.
Cue back to my YouTube video.
Yeah. There's some funny stuff out there. But, like, at the time,
show you
like,
guys a little bit.
I was like, yeah, this is funny, whatever, yada, yada. But then the world that we're heading to now is like, if I say anything, I want to offend somebody.
Yeah.
So it's like, back then I was in college, so I was like, oh, I don't know. Well, oddly enough, I went to work for a bank one day, and I was like, I don't know where I'm going to go work one day. So if a bank or a big company sees this, they might be like, oh, what is this guy about? And it's like, just because I like to have fun and I say dumb stuff doesn't mean I'm a a-hole necessarily.
I do think there is a degree, and it is a fine line. You're right.
Yep.
Like there is definitely a difference
There's
in
no
what is being.
definitive line.
And
Yeah.
it's never going to be. Like
Correct.
it has to be adjustable.
It's
at
got to
this
be
point.
because you're making an action upon this non-definitive thing.
The actions are based on the group, not on a single instance. Like
Yeah.
that's where it is defined, and that's why it's constantly not definable. It's because a group will change their opinion over time.
I think you fixed it by just saying either here, select into groups, super sensitive, not sensitive, and totally outrageously funny. You want to be here.
I think they should allow private server setups.
Yeah.
I think, well, no, I think what they, I mean, that's not a terrible idea. I think that there should be, for most multiplayer games, I think there should just be a kid flag or under 18 flag. It's like,
Yeah.
cool. And the under 18 flag, it doesn't have to be labeled as a kid flag or an under 18 flag. It's like, maybe your friend that's a chick, maybe like, hey, I don't want to be disturbed. Like a do not disturb, or hey, if these people are a-holes, just auto mute to guys that you deem offensive. Whereas, like, dudes like me get in there and the guy will, like, call me an a-hole, and I'll be like, watch me eat yours out real quick. Watch this, boy. And I just come up and kill him or whatever. And it's like, whatever, it's funny.
Well,
Yeah.
see, that's they had
Trash
pitched.
talk is a part of the
Yeah.
fun. It's like sports. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, but there's a distinct difference between trash talking someone and calling them a racial slur. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't want people to be offensive for the sake of being offensive. Like, there's certain things, obviously, there is a line. I just wish that you can go somewhere where, like, obviously, if someone started throwing racial slurs at me, I would just be like, you having fun? Okay. My skin is a lot more thicker than
Yeah.
others.
Right.
I mean, that just is up to me to be, like,
And that's why
bigger person and going with
I was really scared from that noise.
Yeah, I was too. It was a little weird.
I think you're right. My thing, though, is, like, I think the kid mode would probably be a best, like, to me, like,
flag isn't a bad idea.
just
I
because
like the
you
idea
could,
of multiple lobbies, though.
we'll
Yeah,
see them.
I think dedicated because all these companies are already doing dedicated servers for their games. Why not allow an option where you obviously not everyone can just.
Who's
going to
be normal, though, I guess is my thing.
don't-
What is normal queue?
I think you have a regular queue in which people who
A
are
safe queue?
No, I mean
A
yeah,
safe
you,
queue
yeah.
and unrated queue.
You just have a safe queue, and then you have cool.
straight
I'm gonna
unrated, baby.
search. Well, you can search for lobbies based off of lobby name and tags. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like
Your
that's a
bum
system
juice.
that
I think Fortnite did it best, though, because Fortnite was like, F that, no chat.
Yeah, I mean, there's that too.
You know
But
that
yeah, there's
kid I
that.
told you about that I friended just because of his name was your bum juice on the PlayStation Network, by the way.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious. I get on there, he accidentally attaches me to his party somehow, and it's like a 8-year-old kid
Yeah.
playing Fortnite.
Yeah, let's
And
go.
we started really going off the hinges with all the
Heck
racial
yeah.
slurs and cussing, and I was like, oh my god, what is this going on?
We
You
were
know,
playing-
it makes me feel bad about like this
we were-
upcoming generation.
We were playing a game the other day, and one of my buddies who is competing in some of the Realm Royale events, we're just 3 of us, so we queue, and you get a random person, right? The random dude we get, his name starts with an N and ends with an R. And we're just like, and he's like streaming and practicing for this event that's like sponsored by the people who make this game, whatever. And I was like, wow.
There's been an oversight.
And then so then it was one of those things. It was like the first like 5 or 6 minutes of the match. I was just like, I don't think we should ban him, but
the second letter's a 1 instead of an I. You know, well, that's fine.
no, there was just 1 extra G. That's it. And I was just like,
Could at least made a
God,
mind.
could you blur that like on stream?
Because he's a G.
Yeah, right.
So it sounds like we don't agree with these solutions. We do agree that there should be something out there.
I think
I
there
think-
are
I think there are
solutions that they
better
just haven't
options.
implemented them, probably because of wanting to not get huge blowback from saying,
Yeah.
you're letting people do this. You're giving them the option to do it. And it's like, well, I mean, people have the freedom of speech, and if you want to support them in doing what they want to do on their game that they bought with a group of people that they enjoy being with, why not?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, don't get me, dude, all the way. I'm totally for capitalism, even though it's going to fail eventually.
Freedom of
Well, I
speech.
guess
And,
as a
you know, the free market, because the free market, I mean, it's there. I don't care what anybody says. There's people that like dark comedy. I'm one of them.
Yeah.
You're one of them.
Yeah.
You guys are a little bit more sensitive than I am. That's
but
fine.
this company can choose to do what they want with their game.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I agree.
Obviously, the money's dictating it right now.
Yep.
And that makes me less inclined to want to play Siege.
I don't want people to
unfortunately.
be uncomfortable that I'm playing with, but I also, you know, don't want to be forced into this. All right, everybody play nice, or you're going to get out of my lobby. And it's like, I paid money for this. Are you going to give me a refund because you made a rule all of a sudden that says I don't
That
like
is
you anymore?
That is an interesting point that I do somewhat agree with, because like Rainbow Six Siege is like if I'm gonna get in trouble for saying something that I find funny and I get banned from the game for a rule that you made after the game was out, like that's shady.
No,
'Cause,
man,
like,
give me my money.
Going
You-
into
That's
it,
interesting.
When you agree to their online terms, you agree to the terms that they can change
what
those
else is
terms.
an awesome
Yeah.
online agreement? That
Without
it's
notification,
unrated
yeah.
and that they're not responsible for anything that happens on here. Play at your own risk.
So the ESRB is not responsible for the online interactions, but
No one's responsible for the online
But
interactions.
Ubisoft's trying to make a stand and take responsibility
Don't
for
get me
it.
wrong.
they're
I
gonna-
enjoy
they're
the
gonna
fact
make
that
you
Ubisoft
responsible for
is
your own
a big
interactions.
company and wants to do good things for people who are, you know,
Sensitive.
very much more sensitive. That's fine, but don't punish everyone else too.
Well, I think it'll be interesting to see what happens to the numbers and whether it's actually punishing people or if people are fine
I
with
think
it.
you're going to see a lot of people getting off in the beginning, and then you see a lot of people straightening out because they
Getting
want to
off.
play their game that they paid for.
Yeah.
But I still feel like we're being held hostage, and I'm like, it's not cool.
I see it as being held accountable, which is what I think is interesting.
I refuse. This is America, dude. Since when do we hold ourselves accountable for anything?
I think that's the problem. Is we
Oh,
probably
we gotta
should
watch
be.
what we say.
John's
part of the
last
problem.
sentence, he said both getting off and held down.
Yeah.
Both of those are gonna get him banned.
That's my new band name. Getting off and being held down.
I'm on the same track. I don't necessarily agree with being insta-banned. I think that a better alternative should be thrown in there, like a multiple lobby scenario.
Yeah.
Like the ability to say, yes, I want to play with people who are willing to just scream and do whatever they want. Or, you know, I want to play maybe competitive and I want to play clean because
Yeah.
I don't want to hear a bunch of people screaming in a competitive match where I'm trying to improve myself.
Well, and that's where I agree is because you want to play with people who are similar, like-minded, saying, I want to do this, I want to get through this, I don't want to have to sit here and listen to some racist dude in the background screaming
Right.
obscenities when I'm trying to be tactical.
Because
That's cool.
That's what I used to. That's
Yeah.
how I used to be in Overwatch. Sometimes, like I'd get in, or Rocket League. Oh gosh, Rocket League. 1,000 times I'd be jumping into games hoping I'd get somebody who's actually willing to be like, all right, well, you know, let's be flexible. We can do this, that, or the other. But the problem is then I end up, you know, with whoever that's just screaming because he wants to scream because he thinks I'm.
You want to know the real offense? Are the people that play crap music over their mics.
Yeah, I
Mute 'em.
agree with
Those
that.
are the real
They
offenders.
should be banned, too.
They
That's a
belong
different
in
one.
their own
You know what?
circle of hell.
No. I think we can all agree those people should be insta-banned.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
that's I don't know who does
Sometimes
like
it's
playing
good
reggae
music.
music with the worst mic in the world. I'm like, at least get a better
CS:GO.
mic.
It's worse, but it's great. I love them. I love everybody about it. I love being able to talk to randoms. I just love the obscenities. I love it all.
I love talking to random people. I mean, you meet all different types of people.
I literally
So much
had a dude in
possibility.
PUBG get naked. It was amazing.
The interactions
America, freedom
are
of speech.
unlimited.
Are you ready for this?
Kid gamer now.
I need your sound effects.
Okay.
Because, John, we're moving on to your topic,
To
the
the-
final topic, which will be the Gush Report.
I didn't know where that was going. I
If
thought I was
you
gonna
are
put
not watching the video, you have to zoom in on Dylan's face.
something. No. If
He'll
you're
do that
not
himself.
watching the video, you just need to just use your imagination.
I want
the
you
prop
to
we
get,
just
I want
used.
you to film a sound effect and like get in there with like a plunger or something.
I didn't know where you were going with that.
Just,
It just,
get in.
yeah.
So, John, you and I have talked before about wanting
Don't
to make
interrupt
this.
me when I'm trying to be disgusting.
We want to make this a segment
Banned.
of sorts.
Yeah, it's called the Gush Report.
Called the Gush Report, but this time around, I think we're going to leave it a little more open and vague, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So right now we're talking about a game that you have a love for that you don't feel got the love or the attention that it truly needed. So, like for instance, Spelunky for me. I think Spelunky is a great game. It's a great little platformer, rogue platformer. I believe that when Spelunky 2 comes out, it does have a good following, but I don't hear about it
Cult
nearly
following.
enough. Cult following, there you go. Very niche.
Because on PC, they don't support multiplayer.
That's dumb. I can't help it they did dumb things, but hopefully they fix their things in 2 because it's coming out.
Plus, the developer has a really cool name,
What's it over?
Mossmouth.
Mossmouth. Come on.
That's his actual name.
What?
that's
Like
the,
legally.
no, that's the development team he made.
But,
Yes, that's the guy's actual
I was
first,
like,
or
whoa.
actual first and last name.
So what about Spelunky is what makes it like a gem? Something that
It's about
Get it,
the
Jim? There's gems in
roguelike.
it?
The way that they made the roguelike, and for Vita, obviously, it's so much better.
ah
So much better on Vita. And I'm not saying that because I'm a Vita fanboy. I'm saying that
Really?
because when playing on the PS4, you're limited to the section of the screen that you're looking at, and that includes the ghosts. But when
really
you're playing
want
on
you
Vita, you can go anywhere on the map, set off
I think-
traps.
I really
Yeah.
want you to put John Cena up here and go, are you sure about that?
The same issue is on PC as well. Of the
Yeah.
you're stuck on the same screen,
And that
but you
is a limitation. that
it's
was really
shady
dumb.
because you can do it over local network. Just playing together sucks the game. Like that, pretty much only experience the game single player,
We mostly play on ad hoc with the Vitas when we
Yeah.
all get together
Yeah.
and play some Spelunky.
and the Wi-Fi's not down, and your Vitas aren't acting up.
so
and
ad hoc doesn't need a
Vitas don't
Wi-Fi.
act up, and for the most part, we've only had a
when
couple
I was
instances where
at
it really bad.
Sean's house, your ad hoc was messing up.
Nah.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a couple times where it's happened in the mountains. It did,
Yeah.
and at that location. But for the most part, it was pretty solid. We didn't have too many issues, and most of the time it's because Brian would keep walking away, go smoke, and then it would start getting glitchy,
Yeah.
and then it would never recover.
Ad hoc doesn't require Wi-Fi. You just have to be close proximity.
Yeah,
You could be
Hence-
touching tips.
Ad hoc. I mean,
Yes.
you could be. You could touch tips and ad hoc.
but what's
See,
really
this is how
cool
you
is
get
there's
banned.
so
Not-
many
not a
different-
requirement.
From Ubisoft games right
There's
here.
so many
Two
different
separate
paths. I'm
things.
getting
We're
back
not-
on track. You shut up now.
We're not doing racial
Satanist.
slurs. Like that's how you get
Touching
banned.
tips has got to be offensive.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
That's
not.
got to offend some like.
touching tips. No.
That's got to offend some Confederate
No.
soldier somewhere.
That's being homophobic.
Yeah. No. Well, I mean, if you were offended by it, then
Yeah,
you would be
absolutely.
homophobic. Yeah.
Spelunky, please.
Oh wait, now you want to talk about Spelunky? I'm sorry. But the roguelike part of it was really fun. The controls are super tight. Like it just
They
it
are.
gave my Twitch
God, the
ability
puns.
comes out in that game like none other.
Yeah.
And on top of that,
Twitching. He's tight.
the relentless possibilities.
He's relentless.
Between the sticky bombs, not sticky bombs. Between having the possibility of having 100 bombs or no bombs, and you're having to use a pickaxe the entire time. Like
Pickaxe
there's so
is
many
kinky.
different things you can do. Challenges for just for
wasn't even-
yourself,
you reached that
or
one.
getting to hell, getting back, or getting to the city of gold, getting the the
Yeah.
book of the dead. Like there's just so many little
real
things to
kinky.
do that have all these little the
things to
black
do.
market especially, pissing off all those guys for the rest of the game. Just so many things you can do.
I think the game does a really good job with its procedural generation. Like, I don't ever feel like we have a bad run per se. There are times where you're like, "Ooh, this is gonna be tougher," but there's
Yeah.
never a moment where I'm like, "This is a bad level. This was designed wrong."
Yeah.
It always feels like, okay, I just need to learn.
Though
the
there are a
stage.
couple levels where I'm like, God, there's nothing in there, but that happens very few. Far
Yeah.
between.
I'm with you.
Anyway, I love me some Spelunky.
Spelunky.
What about you guys, you laughing leprechaun looking motherfucker?
Tap your keyboard.
Tap tap.
Mark, what's your game that you want to gush about?
My brain's not working right now.
What were you guys laughing about? I was trying to stay like focused, so that way at least you.
We were making.
Don't give him
that
power.
We were
I
making
don't want
all.
to give him power. I want to be a part of the joke.
No,
If I'm not the joke itself,
Long story short, you were just making a lot of puns. You were talking about how tight it was.
I do that a lot.
You were
I
talking
do
about it being
naturally, just
sticky.
comes out.
You were talking about the
was
little
fine.
ones.
It was fine until Dylan started pointing it out. I was like, no, they're not puns unless you actually think they're puns. He's not trying to be
Everything
punning.
I say is pretty much sexual. I just come up with it, but yes, I got you.
What's the game you want to gush over that is underappreciated?
I don't think any of you would have ever guessed this in 163 days.
Is it Pokemon Go?
No. We're not talking about overrated.
Oh,
Damn.
Heating up.
Shots fired.
You're not wrong.
Mine is actually going to be a very odd game that we have, I think, discussed before here. And it's not really a game in itself as much as it is a community, and that is PlayStation Home. The game in itself, for what its time period was and for what it was amazing. It was basically like a free version of The Sims. You could set up your little house. You got the mall. You got the little arcade place going on. And then when they would, and then you had like the little community stuff you could do. When new games would come out, they would put like cool little in-game stuff. Like you could go check out like the God of War trailer in the theater and that kind of cool stuff.
yeah, I was about to say. I remember there being a theater.
And they were just so unique and cool. And like at the time, obviously I didn't really care that much because I didn't really care a whole lot about gaming when it was out. But when I went into it, I was like, oh, this is really cool. This is like The Sims, but this is like everyone who plays this one console are all here. And like, I don't know, I feel like this is a really cool thing. And then it went away. And I was like, oh, you can bring that back.
Yep.
Nah.
Anytime you want to.
Nah.
I agree.
I wish they'd just bring Folding at Home back.
Oh my god.
Folding at home?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It
It was
was-
a really cool program actually.
It was an app that was working with some MIT students in which they were trying to Cambridge or MIT, I can't remember. It was. They were folding proteins. They were simulating the folding of proteins in order to find cures for various diseases. And so what they would do is that they would basically, you would run the app and it would borrow the processing power of your PS3 to help them with load.
With the mathematics for the folding of the protein.
And so you had
And
your,
you would watch the proteins
That's still
folding.
around. I mean, very heavily.
it's not on PS3.
No. But I mean,
yeah.
there's still very heavily
Yeah.
available applications to do that for idle time with your servers and PCs.
Yeah.
I was very confused. That's not related to PlayStation Home at all, is it?
No.
Okay.
It's a separate app. It was really cool because it had this wonderfully melodic, soothing sound.
The PlayStation 3 had a so peaceful like audio visualizer
Yeah.
in there too.
It had the globe, and then it had a
the
dot to
little
represent everyone that was using the app at the time. And so the globe would actually move in real time and have the night and day, which was really cool. It was
I behaviorally taught myself how to sleep with that, and when it went away, I had a
tried
hard
sleep.
time sleeping for a while.
That's weird.
and what was really
Interesting.
cool is that you had your own stats, so you could figure out how many proteins you helped
Yeah.
fold over time. So
That's
it was
cool.
really cool, and then now it's gone.
Yeah, it was definitely a little extra nerdism.
You
on
could
the
put
end
that
of it.
in your bedroom on PlayStation Home
That's
2.0.
There you go. See,
Yeah.
I'm totally down with this.
Give
But
it
I
to
think
me.
that there was a couple things that it was missing, in my opinion. Like I wish like the living situation would have been like cool, like your house and whatnot. You could have done a little more with that. You could have cool clothing. You could have like the minute games. Like obviously none of them were like the greatest minute game ever or whatever. But like it was cool enough, and it was one of those things where like when I didn't want to play anything or whatever, because I just like got into Black Ops. So like when I was like waiting on something to happen, I would just go in there and I'd just talk to random people and just do dumb stuff and like try to beat people in pool or whatever.
If they brought that back, and they kept the mini games that were there, which were a lot of silly ones like a doodle jump clone, pool, all that.
Bowling.
Then also put in, hey, we're gonna have PS1 classics in here, so you can come in here, play some old PlayStation games, and we're gonna give all of our developers opportunity to just make small things like Media Molecule, put a 5-man team and make a little game, put it in here.
Yeah.
The best concept that they could do for this, and you preach your community. Sony, just listen to me. I promise you, this is a fantastic idea, and your fans will adore you. If you own the PlayStation Classic, you can invite people to play it in your like
There
pseudo
you
apartment.
go. I
So like,
that.
hey, I have whatever. I have like the old Demolition Derby game, right? And I want you guys to play it. The only way you can play it is if you come hang out at like my apartment or whatever.
Yeah.
So then, like, you would be out there, and some guy would be like, "Hey, man, any guy want to watch me play the old, I don't know, Final Fantasy?" And Brent would be like, "I'm coming over. What's your room number?"
No, it sounds awesome. I
Or
think
have a
it's great.
place where they just show new trailers, old trailers, whatever of video games that you want to look at with people in the movie theater.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
And then instead, you could have like what are they saying, Game Frogs or whatever. You could have an equivalent like a Game Frog or whatever, where you could go in, use what is it, PlayStation Now.
Yep.
You could maybe go try a game you want, like you could use your Now, and then people could be like, "Oh, this guy's playing whatever Left Behind. Let me see how I like that."
Yeah.
And then you could maybe you could go in there and like say, "Hey, every day you get like 15 minutes to watch something in here." Then it's like somebody playing a trailer, whatever. Which I mean, Twitch kind of gives it to you for free anyway, but it would at least be like an incentive to like, "Hey, I'm not going to spoil the game," and it's like,
Yeah.
I can watch this or whatever.
Well, with streaming culture, especially right now, there's no way you wouldn't put that integrate that in here.
Yeah.
And it would be so successful.
Well, too, I mean, if you wanted to, you could have groups who are going like, "Hey, I'm trying to play this game. Anybody interested? I
Exactly.
want to get to know you, so that way I can play. See if we're going to be compatible for
Let's
this
go
game."
chit chat over a game of pool and let
Yeah.
me see if I want to invite you to my apartment so you don't murder my virtual character.
Tinder for gamers.
There you go. There you
Yeah.
go. So
Ooh.
I remember back in the day when I did play that, because this was like 2011 range or something like that. That there was so many, I'm gonna guess 12-year-old little boys or whatever, and maybe 16, I don't know, whatever. But like every time you would see a girl avatar, it would just be like 15 dudes be like, hey, my name's Greg, and just like, get away, Greg, come on.
my favorite memory from that was the one day I went on and they're like, "Hey, we gave you a free bubbler machine," and I put it on the ground. I was like, "This is exciting."
I just thought some of the outfits and stuff were cool because, like, I remember, I don't even know why. I guess it was one of the God of Wars that came out or whatever, and I don't even know how I did it. But I had, like, this T-shirt that you got from, like, the event or whatever. And it was, like, this stupid little in-game T-shirt. And now, all the time, people are like, "Hey, man, where'd you get that T-shirt? That's really cool." And I'm like, I don't know. Just was there, man. I did something. But I just think stuff like that would be really cool. And also, like, we've talked about before, like, time stuff. I do think it was very overlooked. I think Little Big Planet World, I thought, was going to maybe be their shot at
that
this.
little hub, man.
Or Little Big Planet Hub or whatever it was. So I hope that it gets more love. I hope we see it again. VR could also maybe bring it back. Lots of possibilities there. But I do think it was a very overlooked thing of the PlayStation 3.
I agree. It was unfortunately wasn't built into the OS. They added it on later, and some people just didn't jump into it. Maybe with PS5. Just have it
Next
fully
year.
integrated into the
All
system.
of 2019.
I mean, eventually you're gonna have like a Sword Art Online where you
Yeah.
actually play with VR
Yeah.
and you're actually going in there. And I'm actually a girl, and you don't know that.
No, but did you watch Sword Art Online? They flip you like in the first 30 seconds.
Yeah, I know, but still, it would
You're
be fun
only
for
going to
that
trick the
30
first
seconds.
dude.
What about you, Mark?
You know, I've been mulling this over my brain for, I don't know, good couple of hours at least. I like, there wasn't anything, I guess, that I really felt like that I played that I really got into that was extremely, I don't know, I guess underrated, undervalued, that kind of thing.
Nothing on mobile. Nothing on a previous
I mean, it
console
could even
or
be a
PC.
game, or I mean, not a game, a movie, other than a game.
I mean,
I think the one that I totally know your answer, Mark. Your answer is Snake.io or whatever the fuck it was called.
Slither.io. Yeah.
All the
Well,
IO
or
games.
well, yes, Survive.io, even Agario, you know, like those kind of games. I don't really
Have
feel
you guys played any of those? By the way,
Nope.
No.
So
All right,
there's
I'm
these
learning.
there's these weird games that end in .io. They're like, I don't know, crappy graphics. The one that made them all.
The one you play on a
okay, to put it
Nokia
this way,
phone?
they're built completely for you
The
because
Pico,
you'll.
right?
Huh?
What?
Is it the Pico 8? Is that what they're made
No,
with?
No.
What
So they're built completely like in JavaScript with HTML5.
okay. Yeah,
So you
yeah,
just
But
go
they
to-
use Socket.io, which is a
Got it,
live
got it,
a
got
live
it.
communication library anyway
For
between
people
servers and all
who
that stuff.
for people who are not nerds, you go to a website that ends in .io, and it'll basically like I think agar.io was the first one that blew it up.
Yep.
And you're this little bitty dot, and it's like that old shark game. You eat little bitty, you eat other dots, and you get bigger, right?
Yep.
Once you can press the space bar and the WASD keys are your only options. The space bar splits you in
WASD.
half, right?
Yep.
So then you're running, and if Brent's bigger than me, Brent can eat me. But if I'm little, I'm faster than him normally.
Yep.
So you have a speed boost. No, you have a
Yeah.
speed
If
boost.
you're
too.
if you're smaller, you move quicker. If you're bigger, you
Right.
move slower.
So you're this little ball, and then if you're bigger, you're the biggest ball. You want to be the biggest ball in the server. That's the whole concept. And if somebody's about to attack you, and they're obviously faster than you, or going to trick you, you can space bar and like break into little pieces and hurry away, or try to save yourself or whatever.
Okay.
Or if you hit like a little ball, it pops you.
Yep.
But that spawned this huge plethora of like the centipede version, basically, where you're like snakes. Then there's
It's
one
more
now.
li- you mean like the game Snake?
Yeah, like the game Snake.
Not really like Centipede at all. Basically, it's
Well,
like
it looks like a
snake-
centipede.
you eat Anyway, you eat these. You tell me actually what this sounds like. You eat the little dots, that kind of thing, and the idea is you can cut off other snakes or whatever, kill them, and then eat their dots anyway.
Sounds like Snake
that were
Basically, yes.
Basically, yeah. But you could like eat their like food things, their little dots anyway.
Their poop.
Kind of, yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Because if they're boosting, actually, they kind of poop these little dots out. Actually,
That makes them smaller.
yeah.
Sounds
But
like I wanna play right
the
now.
idea is you could be the biggest snake on the map.
The longest thing. on
More
that.
puns.
Yeah. Then there's like a new one that's basically like a rip off of BRs where you're like a little
I've
dot.
seen you
survive
play this.
that,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah, yeah.
But he's right though. Like the .io games, I guess didn't really. Don't get me wrong. There's actually a lot of like big videos and that kind of thing that come out there. There's actually the nice thing is there's no chat and that kind of thing. The community is just kind of nice. You don't know who
You
the
can
heck
make
you're
an
Silence is
offensive
cool.
name.
You don't know who you're playing against, that kind
Yeah.
of thing, because the usernames, like literally you could change usernames every single time you play again, but
The
it
original
really
one,
didn't matter.
Agar, had a super cool feature as well of they didn't tell anybody this, but they started putting in if you used a certain username, you would get a flag. Like your whole circle would be this color or whatever, right? So as a joke, they put in like Nazi, and then it would show a swastika as your thing got
Oh
bigger or
my
whatever.
God.
And then it would be like South America or South Africa. You get a South African flag. You could do Donald Trump. You could do like troll things or like memes and stuff like that. Like Doge had one,
Yeah.
like all
Oh,
this other
that's
stuff.
Slither was one of the bigger ones actually, because they started focusing on particularly the YouTubers and streamers that actually started playing the game and started making videos about the game. So PewDiePie actually has a little logo for him.
Oh, cool.
Quebblecop, if you've ever seen, I doubt it because he's a very high energy, like younger audience kind of streamer. And like a couple of the guys in their group anyway, because they made a lot of those videos. They actually started participating with the community anyway and kind of contributing back to those YouTubers who made them big.
Oh, that's cool. Awesome. John, can you guess what my game is?
Good call. I was going to say
Severed.
Star Citizen, but
That is correct.
It is
I'm going to pick Severed, a Vita exclusive that was released in 2016. It
By
is now
Drinkbox?
Drinkbox Studios, the successor to Guacamelee. It is now available on 3DS, Switch, Wii U, and I said Vita first. It was a Vita exclusive.
Oh, sorry.
And then iPhone and Android. It is a
You can
game.
download it on my phone.
You can. It is a
It's called
game
Severed.
that is a dungeon crawling RPG in the same art style as Guacamelee, which is a very South American, like Central American, actually. I think.
Nacho Libre?
Yeah. Yes. Very much embodies that kind of feel and vibe. It's very colorful. It's almost like it's on an acid trip, but it is the only game I have played with touch control combat that I think gets it right.
interesting.
And that is because it is done from a first-person point of view where you will come into an area and enemies will surround you. So you might just have one enemy in front of you. You might have 6 or 8 enemies around you entirely, and each enemy has a timer on there. When their timer gets down to 0, they attack you. So your goal is to juggle between the enemies and hit the timing right to hit them to reset their timer. And so some enemies you have to hit them multiple times. Is it not on iOS?
What is this?
Severed.
SER?
Severed.
Well, you're going to block,
Yeah, so
and
Yeah.
then you're trying to go around, then hit this person down.
right.
So yeah, it's on
about
iPhone. But
$7.
it's a wonderful game. It's super cheap. It lasts about 5 hours. It is an interesting. It has an interesting narrative about struggling with loss. Has no words. No, it has a few words, but very, very little words. It is also a kick-ass female protagonist. It is a very good game.
Yeah.
So I highly
Let's
recommend
purchase
it.
it.
Continuing
I'll
on
let
the
you
theme of like no talking, female protagonists. Actually, the game I enjoyed very much was gosh,
This is over now, Mark.
It is.
No,
I already
it's
tried
this
to force
over.
Brent
This
to
was
play this
mine.
stupid game.
Go ahead.
You're talking about Life Alert.
what?
That is
Like-
a product for old people.
It's called Life Alert.
Hard left.
It's a game. I didn't realize this.
It's Lifeline.
Life. Okay.
No.
Life Alert is definitely the little badge.
Monument Valley. That's what it
Oh
was.
yes, Monument Valley is wonderful.
Monument Valley, I think. I mean, not from a combat perspective, obviously. It's
Yeah.
a very much puzzle-based game, but I think actually that was because Monument Valley 2 came out. I didn't even know.
I know. I'm the same way.
Until honestly, I was watching a video from one of the YouTubers I watch, and he was like, he was just kind of like playing with a phone, and then was playing Monument Valley, but like a different version of it. It's like,
Where did that come
this? Yeah. So
Yeah.
I literally purchased it. I played both of them on flights.
from? That's awesome.
Like I played one on the flight up, and I played one on the flight back. Anyway, it occupied my whole time. It was honestly a great it was worth the $3 I think I spent on both.
It's a really cool little puzzle game that has almost like MC Escher-esque architecture from time to time.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
It's really it kind of teases your brain a little bit.
Yeah.
So
I wish that it had more Fez elements.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, but I feel like it has enough of like journey or
Yeah.
flower elements where it's just
I really
relaxing.
like Fez too.
Fez is
Monument Valley
another
always
one.
makes me think of Fez.
Yeah, that's
It
a
always
great
was
one.
like, I want to live Fez now.
But yeah, those are some of our gusher gems. I don't know what's good here.
That's the Gush Report.
So that's the Gush Report. Feel free to leave in the comments some games that you think should be recognized that people should play, because we could all share with each other and figure out what we want to do.
Chances are we probably
yes.
played it, and chances are we probably got a lot to say.
Chances are I haven't played
sure
it.
At some point in time, we've been offensive, so feel free to leave those comments there. We'll probably ignore them or maybe address them.
Or be offensive when we reply.
I might laugh about it while we're off camera.
And also,
on
don't forget
camera
to
next
check
week.
all the links. You
Yeah.
can find all of our social media in the description. It's up here. We will be back next week at the same bat time, same bat place. And as always, aim for the bushes.